I got my probable cause, so I'm in there searching the car, and first thing I lift the jacket up, it's a loaded AK-47. Camera guy's like, oh, this is awesome. And he's sitting in the back seat, he's got the camera, he's like ready to go, and the anchor guy's sitting in the passenger seat, he's like, we're really going to do this? I'm like, oh yeah, dude, he's a parole fugitive from prison. I'm going to jump out and take this guy to jail. The one main guy came over and took a 2x4 and a hammer and a nail and nailed his private part to the 2x4, fighting through all this stuff and dealing with this while they're hearing active gunfire. When they finally get through this barricade stuff and start going down the stairs, the other female victim comes up. She's got a gunshot to her head. I think she had one or two more in her torso. Doug Barney's the first one to pull up and see him. Hey, I see him over here running. Pulls up in his car. Right as he pulls up, he turns and just starts shooting into the car. Doug Barney doesn't have a chance.
Welcome out to God and Country. I'm Uriah Kennedy, and this is Ingrid Bettridge. We are coming at you the day after the 4th of July, so by the time you guys listen to this, the 4th of July would have been yesterday. But we're going to be a little patriotic here anyway. We've got a great guest on with us this week. This is Zach Van Emmerick, who was candidate for Davis County Sheriff, but that is not what we're going to be talking about today. We're actually going to be going way back in his history to talk about things that are a lot more interesting being a candidate. So he was in the Marine Corps from 1999 to 2003.
Yep, that's right.
So we'll talk some Marine Corps, and then he was Salt Lake City SWAT, Salt Lake County SWAT.
Salt Lake County / Unified Police Department.
Unified Police Department SWAT team from 2010 to 2020. We're going to talk SWAT. And we're going to talk Metro Gang Unit. So a lot of things to talk about down in Salt Lake City. But first off, we're going to talk about 4th of July and America 250. So the way I'm going to start this, and neither one of them know that I'm doing this, but this is what we're going to do. I'm going to bring up some pictures, and we're going to have reaction, because they're not going to be very hard to pick, hard pictures to find out what's going on. But the whole thing is to honor America and our 4th of July celebration, and just talk about some of these images and what they mean to us as far as patriotism. So we're going to start with a few of these images, and they're not going to be in order, so they're going to be random, or we're going to bounce around history a little bit here, so don't think I'm going to be doing anything in order. So first picture is this one. Who is it and what happened?
Francis Scott Key.
There you go.
Francis Scott Key. And what is in the background?
Explosions and the flag.
Fireworks. No, it is the battle of, I can't remember the battle. It's in one of the bays out there.
War of 1812.
War of 1812. There you go.
Fort McHenry. So most people would know the history of this is the Brits were trying to force us to surrender. Francis Scott Key is an attorney. Gets on a little dinghy, goes out to the vessel and tries to negotiate some peace. But British are like, well, it's nice of you to come out here and try to negotiate, and we will release your prisoners, because the bottoms of these vessels were full of U.S. prisoners. Mm-hmm. He says, but it's not going to matter by morning, because we're going to take over. And you're not going anywhere. You're stuck here all night. And they didn't let him go. Mm-hmm. And so he's on the bow of the ship, and the soldiers below decks are yelling at him saying, what's happening, because they obviously can't see anything. And then that's when he pins the Star Spangled Banner, because the soldiers down below are asking him, can you still see the flag? Is the flag still up on Fort McHenry? Now, there's a lot of false information about this. There's a big story that's really popular about the soldiers were inside of Fort McHenry ensuring that the flag doesn't fall by holding it up with their bodies. And then one would die and they'd pull it away and the other one would just grab the flag. But the real story behind Fort McHenry, which is amazing because I think this is actual even better story because I think it's divine intervention. God intervened. Only 4 people died on the American side, period, that entire night. 4 people. And only 1 British soldier died. And it was a constant barragement of artillery going back and forth all night from the fort to the ships. And obviously the Americans didn't really want to sink very many ships because they knew that their compatriots were below decks. And so like if we sink one, we kill our own people. So they're trying to essentially use their bombardment to keep the British ships back so they couldn't get closer because they're throwing big old 20 and 30 pounders at the fort. But that's a true story. And the only sad part about it is one of the people that did die was a woman, and she was actually carrying supplies back and forth between the supply area and the soldiers up on the
Interesting.
compartment or the ramparts.
Yeah.
Whether it was food or whether it's ammunition, whatever it was, and a ball hit her, and they say literally it cut her in half.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was the only really brutal death that was happened that night. But obviously we have the national anthem here, and the reason why we sing, "Oh, say, can you see," is because of the soldiers below decks asking Francis Scott Key, "Can you see?
Right.
Is the flag still up there?" And he says, "Yes, I can still see it." And the only way he could still see it was because there were so many rockets that it was creating enough light to be able to see
Flag in the back.
the flag in the background. Because obviously there's no electricity back there. There's no spotlights. There's nothing up there. They can't see anything. It's middle of the night. And that's
I mean, there's no cell phones?
no cell phones. There weren't anything like that.
I already bawled during every national anthem. Now you're making me emotional again.
Right.
Oh, say, can you see?
Yeah.
By the dawn's early light, because the next morning, the British soldiers had promised him that flag's not going to be up and we're going to take over by morning. So your negotiation's pointless. We'll let them go, but you're going to be Brits by morning, right?
Yeah.
And
I don't remember what year it was,
dawn's
but
early light, flag was still there.
when I was in elementary school in the beginning, we didn't sing the national anthem. We sang, I don't know, it wasn't America the Beautiful. We sang something else, but it was later in late grade school when it switched to the national anthem, somewhere in the
I always sung
70s.
the national anthem.
Yeah.
It was something, it didn't become the official.
There was, what was it? Coming to America. I know we did that.
No, My Father, 'Tis a, whatever song.
My
that-
Country, 'Tis Thee.
My Country,
Yes.
'Tis a Thee is what you sang
Yeah.
after the Pledge of the Allegiance in elementary school until that became the official song. But I'm both of you, so.
I think the national anthem, it became the national anthem clear back in like 1890 or something like that. It's been.
But wasn't the official, like, what we were.
It might have been your schoolmate have not have done it, but it was a national anthem long.
We'll look it
100
up.
years ago. So
Comment on it and give us our history.
I'll
Yeah,
Google
there you
it
go.
here in
Yeah.
a second, but
Fact check it.
yeah. So the whole point of that is the reason we have fireworks on the 4th of July is because of that event. That's the whole reason, because the bombs, the fireworks signify each other, and our flag was still there.
Yeah.
So with that in mind,
We're going to sing.
Yeah.
we're going to
Oh, you don't want to hear me sing.
go into some other images and see what everybody thinks. Again, we're just going to look for commentary. What is this?
Normandy, D-Day, June 6, 1944.
D-Day.
They're going to get me emotional.
Yeah. One of the bloodiest battles ever, the United States ever to confront. Most of the soldiers, when that tailgate dropped, died right then and there.
Yeah.
Because the Nazis there would just throw it right in there as that thing dropped. I always thought to myself, why didn't they just kind of turn sideways something so that it just didn't drop and they're just bullets?
The boat would have sank. So the way those Higgins boats are designed, the front drops when it gets shallow enough so the troops can offload onto it. But after Normandy, they realized, hey, yeah, you are opening yourself up to any kind of machine gun, a small arms fire. And eventually they started having the door in the back. So the current day Amtraks, I was part of an Amtrak company when I was in the Marine Corps, the ramp is in the back now. So when they float, it's like a floating tank. It's so crazy. You don't want to go on them. It smells like diesel fumes and it's like super hot in there and ocean water's coming in. And the scariest part's when you're backing off the edge of the ship and it's just about to drop in, and the tankers will tell you this is the most dangerous time to be in an Amtrak, because this is whether you know whether it's going to sink or it's going to float. And if you sink, you go straight to the bottom and you don't come up. And you just kind of go and you go and you go and you come off the edge and you just tip just like that. And you come in, and when it comes back up, you can take that big breath of air and know that you're not going to hit the bottom of the ocean. But yeah, so those taking boats, that's just kind of what they had. And the Germans had actually set up encampments and machine gun positions and pillboxes all along the beach of Normandy. What's interesting enough, I don't remember the general at the time who made the call, the local one, decided not to bring their tanks up, and they wanted to keep their tanks in reserve to, in case the troops were able to get onto the beachhead, and then they were going to use that as a secondary. Well, had they reversed that and the tanks would have been up front, there probably would have been a lot more casualties, and it would have been a lot harder for us to attack the beachhead. So basically, that decision of that German general saved, actually was what allowed us to get onto the beaches and take it over. So it's interesting, if you see on that picture in the background, you can see through the smoke and the haze, it's a wall, it's a seawall. And
yeah, it was just a big old hill, and they had the ramparts there, and they bombarded that.
Yeah.
All night.
Yeah, all night. Yeah.
All night. And you think nothing would be left, and next morning they had hardly touched any of the bunkers at all. They haven't hit any of them.
Yeah. You figure when you do a bunker, bunkers are made specifically to survive bomb attacks.
Yeah.
You know, and the concrete ones and in the ground and just even foxholes and fighting holes, they're designed to be deep enough that, you know, if you hear them coming, you just get down, and, you know, if you're unlucky, it might hit you right on top and you're gone. But if it's hitting close, a lot of times you can survive it and get through it. So pretty crazy.
It's really
right there. Yeah. Pretty nuts.
But if it's next year, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah,
that was
pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yep. Obviously, this was the bloodiest battle during the entire World War II, because you see this in Band of Brothers, you see this in
Saving Private
Ryan, and then Schindler's List. There's a little bit of it in Schindler's List as well. But I mean, the one comment I always see is that the ocean turned red. I mean, literally turned red. It was just, And then even more sad is I listened to several of the drivers of these vessels, and they were interviewed afterwards, and the drivers of these were just bawling by the time they went to their second, third trip, because you don't know this, but the drivers, it was the same driver the whole day, and they would go from the beach back to the ship, fill it up again with more soldiers, go back to the beach, drop them off, go back. I said some of these drivers said they did 5 trips.
Cool. It's insane.
And he says that they were trying to mop out the blood in between the trips so they wouldn't scare the other soldiers, because there were so many dead bodies. And they said they're literally, half the times they'd have 6 or 7 dead bodies already in there that didn't get out.
Right.
And when he went back to the ship, they'd have to pull them out onto the ship just so they'd had enough room to fill back up again.
Yep.
And it was an absolute massacre.
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
It was a brutal day.
Yep. Yeah. A lot of them couldn't even, some of them opened the doors a little early because of the tide and stuff. And some of them carried so much gear, and they didn't think that maybe they'd be disembarking from in water. You see they're on their waist level there.
15 foot of water.
10, 12, 15 feet. A lot of them sank and they couldn't come up. Yeah. They drowned and just died right there. So yeah, pretty crazy. It's
horrible. Just what our people go through to have freedom here. This is why we want to do this. So
absolutely.
I've got the T-shirt.
Mount Suribachi, Iwo Jima, World War II.
Iwo Jima.
Pacific. Yep, I've been there.
Well, you've been to this part right here in Iwo Jima?
Been to Iwo Jima, yep. In fact, I actually thought about it as I was running out the door. I've got a Gatorade bottle full of the black sand from the beach of Iwo Jima. So
really?
Yep. I left my dog tags right up on top.
Really?
That had been an emotional experience. I mean, it's always been my dream to be able to see the Eagle's Nest and then to see Normandy.
Yeah.
Because I've always wanted to see where it began and where it ended.
For sure. It's really cool.
What was the reason for going to Iwo Jima? What was the backdrop behind that?
So they looked at Iwo Jima as a halfway point to, I don't remember what of the islands, if it was to Midway. I know Midway was the halfway point to Japan, to be able to reload the bombers and refuel them to get to Japan to do mainland bombing. I think Iwo Jima was one of the same ones early on.
What was your purpose of being there?
I just got it. So when I was in Okinawa, while I was in the Marine Corps, so I was in station in Hawaii, but we do deployments out to Okinawa. I just came across, we have what's called MWR, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. And we just got word of a MWR trip over to Iwo Jima. And it was like $70 or something like that. And they kicked us out onto a Navy plane, and the Navy plane flew us over to Iwo Jima. And it was just a couple of me and my Marine buddies. Amazing. We camped there. We brought our tents, and we just slept on the beach there, and we were there for 3 days. Brought MREs with us, and we got to explore the whole island. It was really cool.
Really?
So got to climb Mount Suribachi. And
exploring that island, did you see any shrapnel or anything?
So I actually have, I think it's probably from a 30 caliber machine gun. I've got the one round from it. I had two. One that's in pretty good shape, and then one that's actually peeled back like it impacted something. And then sand from the beach, which was black sand. It was so crazy. A lot of Marines, let's go out and swim. Let's go see if there's old, because there was old anti-aircraft weapons still there. They're all rusted out, but they're still there. And there's a back then it was Japanese ground self-defense force. Because of the treaty, they couldn't have their own offensive military, but they could have a defense force. So they had a little unit that was actually stationed there to maintain some of the area. I think it was only 30 or 40 members, but yeah, they had anti-aircraft guns. We walked around the beach. We saw different foundations of walls that used to be there for whatever buildings they were at the end of the flight line. I found rounds. Like I said, I found probably their upper receiver of a Browning automatic rifle. It was so rusted out, you could barely tell what it was, but it was a rectangular shape, had the trigger coming out. I could tell it was probably it was a bar. It was pretty cool. It was just out there on the beach. You just leave it there and stuff. But yeah, and then you go up and there's a monument up on top of Suribachi, and leave your dog tags up there. Sorry.
I get just as emotional as you do, but how many dog tags were up there?
Thousands.
Did your whole group do it?
Yeah. It was pretty cool.
Just emotional experience.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So, and then we got to explore some of the tunnels that are in there. It's
really the tunnels
cool.
are still there.
Tunnels are still. Yeah. They basically left that island the way we left it, and they really didn't do anything with it. And we got to go exploring the tunnels.
Is there nothing else on it? Like they haven't commercialized it like as
nothing.
A tourist attraction?
It's like 3 miles wide by like 5 miles long. Really, the only thing on there is the flight line, and the big mountain where the picture is Mount Suribachi. And it's a volcano, and it's like the only prominent thing on the island.
Which explains the black sand.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I keep choking up.
The black sand there.
Yeah, pretty cool. So I was going to say it took...
this battle is an amazing battle, too, because it took almost as much as Normandy to break the island, because the Japanese they had no sense of their own life.
Yeah,
I mean, they were just... There was a slaughterhouse.
They were willing to die for...
They were really willing to die. Yep. And the American soldiers were almost breaking down. Before today, I read a few stories where the Americans had killed so many people that they themselves were breaking down.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
It says, why do they keep running at us? Because the massive manpower, he says, half of them are running at us, didn't have a weapon. They had sticks.
Right. Yep.
Because they just ran out of ammunition, and they were still running at us.
Who'd rather die than surrender.
Die than surrender. They said they plowed through tens of thousands.
Also, the propaganda machine on the Japanese side basically made us out to be villains that would kill them anyway, and torture and rape and kill them. So in their mindset, it was more the warrior samurai code, Bushido, I think is what it is. It's better to take your own life or die fighting than to be captured or tortured. So that was kind of the mindset of the Japanese.
We knew that with the Navy too. So there's many of the battleships and the carriers, the Japanese carriers, that they put the katana through their stomach and went down with the ship because they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, a lot of the admirals did. And it's interesting. I'm reading one of the history books now. They talked specifically about that, how that really affected the Japanese Navy as well as their Air Force when their kamikaze pilots would go down so much and they would just do those suicide bomb runs and then just crash their plane into ships. They lost hundreds and hundreds of very veteran pilots. And that had they not done that, they probably would have been a lot more successful in their air campaign. So, you figure when they're just giving their lives willingly that way, I mean, it's great and it's prideful, I guess, to do that. But at the end of the day, you're really hurting your own military. you're getting rid of a tool that can be trained and train other people, you know.
It's interesting that it hasn't gone away. I mean, this
Yeah.
Middle East where you have these children from childhood that are raised to be, you know, told we're the evil American and that you should be willing to die.
Oh, for sure.
And the mothers that are giving up their babies to
Crazy. Yeah.
so it hasn't changed much.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, same era,
Yeah. Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941.
December 7, 1941.
That's the other place I'd go to Hawaii.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I've been there. Yeah. Been to the Arizona
It's
Memorial. A day that will live in infamy.
a great song.
One of the very most sad days, right? Because obviously it was a surprise attack. They should have known about it, but they didn't because it came up on radar.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were just like, what is that? And kind of ignored it, tried to figure out what it was.
Yeah.
The fleet was actually sent out to find the Japanese fleet because they had heard inklings that they were out there. And were sent in the completely wrong direction, which is why they weren't even close.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why they were so successful at it.
Yeah. You're pretty much defenseless. Yeah.
Yeah, and Pearl Harbor, the movie, kind of portrays the Arizona very, very literally as when it started to roll. There were still 3,000 some odd soldiers inside
Yeah.
at its depths, and it shows very well. And this is true. The one thing about Pearl Harbor that's very, very true is how they tried to literally cut through the bottom of the ship to try to get at them.
Right.
And there's one scene on Pearl Harbor where someone's sticking their hand out as he drowns, and that's actually really happened.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Which is crazy that ships were built really well. Now, obviously, they were built really well, and they weren't going to get to them easily. But
For sure.
I don't know if everybody knows, but all 3,000 of those soldiers are still there. I mean, they're still inside the barrels of that, and that's their watery grave right there.
Yeah. They left them. Yeah.
And that's just the honor of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, pretty crazy. I don't know if you guys have been there. Went there. Like I said, I was stationed in Hawaii, so I went there. It was a pretty cool experience.
Probably
Really
a
cool.
sacred feeling.
It's still there. Absolutely. Very, very, very sacred for sure. And they have a nice monument over it, and it was pretty cool. Great.
I have
Definitely
not
recommend it
been
if you
to
go.
Hawaii,
Yeah. If you make it, definitely got to make it a point to go to Pearl Harbor.
Oh, I wouldn't go there for any other reason, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm very patriotic like that. I mean,
Absolutely.
growing up with my kids, I mean, everybody goes on vacations and barbecues on Memorial Day. And my kids will tell you, from the time they were 6, 7 years old, I would drag them up out of bed at 6 a.m. and we'd go find a memorial service for a veteran memorial service. And so I was dragging them to graveyards up in Salt Lake, down in Provo, Springville, here in Davis County as well. And we'd go hear senators speak. I saw Hatch speak at one, a few others, and
Yeah.
you saw the 21 gun salutes, and then you'd hear a few people get up about war stories about their ancestors, and that's what my kids grew up with.
That's cool.
They grew up very, very patriotic, and now all of them are military.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of fun that they all joined, but
Hey, did a
that
good
wasn't the intent.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I did teach a lot of patriotism.
For sure. That's great.
All right, we're gonna go back in time.
Okay. Back in time.
What's this?
Oh, what are the Revolutionary War?
Close, but no.
No. Where?
More bloody.
Civil War. It's a Civil War. Yeah.
This is Gettysburg.
Gettysburg.
This is Gettysburg. Have you been to Gettysburg?
I haven't. No.
Well, I
that's what they
have.
have
I've
not
been to
done.
Gettysburg,
Yeah.
and that is one of the most solemn experiences
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
I'm sure.
Because they have monuments like every 50 feet. I mean, and they have the grave pillars
Yeah.
and gravestones just everywhere. Because a lot of soldiers they just buried them right there.
Yeah.
Just buried them there, and
Absolutely.
there's gravestones and monuments just riddling the land over there.
It was so cool to see.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal thing to see. And the one thing that people don't understand about Gettysburg is there's this huge flat plain, and it's not very hilly, so you can see quite a distance. And then there's hill. On the one side of the hill there are cliffs, and then it kind of rolls down on the backside. And so the North had the high ground. They had the hill, and the Confederates would come up on them, and like the Japanese would just keep coming and keep coming, and they would just bombard them, which is why so many people died.
Right.
And they would just body after body after body, and until they finally surrounded the hill and they started coming up on the north, and that's when it got really bloody because it went from them just shooting down at them to hand-to-hand combat, and that was the bloodiest war of the Civil War.
Yeah.
And it surprises me how far north it was, because
Right.
you think of the Civil War and you're thinking of southern United
South,
States.
yeah.
No, this is Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Pennsylvania, right on the border, just past Baltimore,
Mhm.
and it's way, way north. And there's I forget the name of the other monument. So just south of Gettysburg, there's another hill, and it goes down to a river, and there's a single bridge that goes across the river. And the north, this time, were trying to cross the river and get to the south. It had the high ground this time.
Okay.
And the only way to get across the river was this little bridge. And they said they almost buried the river with bodies of how they tried to get across the river. I'm like, why do they keep crossing the river? Why don't they just, even though it's deep, go someplace else? But they threw as many bodies as necessary to get across this narrow, and the bridge is still there. The actual bridge is still there, and it's narrow, and you could walk across it. And they threw as many bodies as necessary to get up to that hill and take out the South, which is just crazy.
Insane. That's one thing I haven't done. It's on my bucket list is go see some Civil War battle sites.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I went all through that whole area, and it was just phenomenal experiences. They got big old towers now. You can go up these big circular staircases up these towers and look over the entire Gettysburg area and see what they saw. And it kind of has maps out where the different states were, because each state had their platoons or their battalions, I guess, wasn't platoons, battalions, and where the Virginians were and where the Delawareans were. And where
You know those groups that recreate those? And do they do that there?
they can't do it on site. They do it someplace else because, that site can't be touched.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they do it all the time.
Reenactments. Cool to see. I'd like to go see one of those too. That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy how bloody that battle was.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, they got the massive museum, and the museum there is huge.
Okay.
So you got plenty of time to walk through. So if you go there,
Like a whole day thing.
plan on a good 5 hours just to get to the museum, let alone not even getting through the countryside there.
Yeah. Right.
Because the museum's massive, and they have the stories. And I went from just story to story, and they literally in detail show you how each battalion would come forward, what the men in charge were thinking about when they came forward, and how many people were dying. They show stories about the cannonballs just taking out legs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's stories of where the soldier was going out there, and he said the soldier right next to me all of a sudden didn't have a head. And
Oh, it's crazy.
he says he was literally standing there still, but the head was gone.
Came so fast, took his head off, and his body just was still doing what it was doing.
Still was doing what it was doing. I mean, just horrific.
Yeah.
You think D-Day was bad.
Right.
I mean, Gettysburg is horrific.
Absolutely.
Horrific. Next.
You're still going to make us cry?
Yeah. Right. Almost got me. Almost.
Let's talk about
tear didn't
gangs
quite
now.
break. Yeah. I was choked up, but I haven't had a tear break yet. So I'm sure we'll get there. Oh, Vietnam. Yeah.
I'm hearing MASH playing in the
Yeah.
background.
Right. Yeah. No, the Doors. Creedence Clearwater, CCR.
Yeah, for sure. This is one of the saddest wars. I mean, not because of blood, but because of politics. So
Yeah, the aftermath.
previous to this, politics didn't get involved in war much. It wasn't Dems versus Republicans. It wasn't the antis versus the pros. It was, I mean, we knew what we were doing in World War II. We knew what we were doing in World War I. Obviously, we really knew what we were doing during the Civil War and then the Revolutionary War. This is the first war that America had where politics got involved. And it devastated the war.
Absolutely.
Because and the Korean War was the same way, and we'll show you images of that. But instead of just gaining ground and keeping the ground, the powers that be thought attrition would be better. And they literally had a campaign of attrition. We're going to win through attrition. We're just going to kill and kill and kill and kill until they give up.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know where in history they thought that was a good idea.
I'm with you. You can't kill
You take land and you keep the land until they give up.
Right.
Which is what we did in World War II. And I mean, go back to Rome. That's every military out there's ever done.
Yep.
And then you had a change of presidency right in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it really started going south, is because the new president was very anti-war, was trying to pull out of it. And even though he was anti-war, he was the one that got blamed mostly for the war because he promised to get out of it during his campaign and actually ended up lengthening the war. Because once he got in there, he got a reality check of really how bad it was over there. But that's where the war got even bloodier, is because the rules of engagement were just stupid.
Yep. They tied our hands.
They tied our hands. They couldn't get shot upon.
Yep.
And they couldn't go across the Vietnam border and nail the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
Yep.
They just left that for the Viet Cong to just do whatever they wanted down the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and they said, you cannot cross the border.
Yep. And Laos and Cambodia. Yeah.
Laos and Cambodia.
They had teams that went over there, reconnaissance flights that went over and flew over and saw in the open NVA divisions standing out there camping, getting ready, and they knew they were coming in on the Ho Chi Minh Trail just day and night, and there's nothing they could do about it. The only one time they could bomb on the Ho Chi Minh Trail was when they saw people on foot or vehicles that they could come in and verify were Viet Cong or an NVA, and then they could come in and bomb them. But yeah, unless it was that, they couldn't do it. So civilians will say, which the Viet Cong were, essentially a guerrilla force, they didn't look kind of like our war on terror, right? It's really hard to identify our enemy when they don't dress in a uniform. So that's one of the rules of engagements that is...
They really hampered them. Really tired. And that's where a lot of American soldiers died. Way too many died because of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that's where the bad media narrative, because they weren't in a uniform.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now they're becoming
civilians, right?
So you're killing civilians, you're killing babies.
Yeah. Yep.
They're Viet Cong.
Yeah.
They're the women, the men, they were all fighting.
Yeah.
All of them. Teenagers were fighting. They were all fighting. Yet that's not the narrative that made it back to the United States.
Right.
They didn't tell you that these 16-year-old, 14-year-old kids and women all were out there throwing hand grenades and shooting at you.
Yep.
And that's why you had
babies were booby trapped, and that's why Marines shot babies. There were mothers that went and put their babies with a hand grenade underneath the baby, an infant. And first time it happened, the Marine picked up a baby and blew him up, and from there on out, they just shot him. They shot him on the ground where they lay. And that's where we got the term baby killers from, because literally we did kill babies, and it was out of necessity and out of survival. Right? Yeah, and it's unfortunate to do, but war is not a good thing. It's not a pretty sight. So,
well, this is also one of the first wars where cameras were the norm, right?
Yeah.
The media was there. They're on site.
They're embedded with units.
And so the public didn't have that during World War II.
No.
Didn't see how bloody it was. Didn't see how bad it was. They just heard it in the newspapers, right? This was the first war where it was on the news every day, in your face,
every night,
and then people didn't handle it very well.
Yeah.
The shock of it made people turn against the war very, very quickly. Yep. But the problem is you can turn against the narrative of the war, but they turned against the American soldier.
Right. That was the problem.
And that was the problem.
Absolutely.
And then you go from there to here.
Yeah, it looks like Korea.
As Korea.
Yeah.
Go to the Korean War. And obviously this is the one of the wars we lose because we just decide to pull out, right? Same with Vietnam.
Technically, we're still there. Yeah. In a way, it was never, it was a ceasefire. So technically, we're still at war.
It was never
upon ceasefire, and they declared a neutral zone and the demilitarized zone of the 38th parallel. Yeah, when we pushed the Koreans and Chinese back over across the 38th parallel, we came to a ceasefire, and it's still that way today. And that's why there's so much, anxiety and tension at the DMZ right there, because technically we're still at war, and the North Koreans don't want their people coming over and escaping essentially, and South Koreans actually go over and work in North Korea, and they actually go work back and forth. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, they have to prove their citizenship and all that, but there's South Koreans that go across the border and go work in North Korea and then come back throughout the day. It's pretty nuts. And I don't know whether there was something recently over the last year or two. I think it was an American soldier that actually defected and went into the North Korean side. Maybe a year ago. Anyway, yeah, it was pretty big. Yeah, it was a little blurb that hit the news. He just decided to run across. I don't know if he didn't want to be in the military anymore. I think it was the Army. And he just ran across and was like, "No, I'm just going to go defect and be
still there,
part of North Korea." As far as I know, I never followed up on it, but I just saw a little blurb on it. I was like, "Yeah, why would you do that?"
My grandfather fought in this war. My grandfather on my mother's side, he fought in a destroyer.
Okay.
And I interviewed him many times in high school, and I couldn't get him to talk about much because he said he saw too much death to talk about it.
Sure.
And then my grandpa, my dad's side, he died before I was born, so I never got to talk to him, but my dad would tell us stories. But he fought in the Korean War, and he fought on hills just like this one that we're picturing him.
Yeah.
In fact, one of his funny stories was that his commander told him to go and take a hill, and the hill would look almost identical to this one. And then if you drop off the hill, there was a stream, and then there was another hill.
Yeah.
And the North Koreans had taken that hill, and the Americans had taken this hill. But neither were commanded to move. They were just take the hill and sit there.
Just hold what you got.
Just hold what you got. And so at first they were very cautious because they could see each other on both hills, and it's not like you're that far away from each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they would be cautious because they all had to go down to the stream to get water because that was the only way they were surviving. And so they would try to figure out intermittent ways to go down to the river and get water where they're not kind of confronting the North Koreans. But a few times that didn't really happen, and they were just kind of standoff, and then they'd leave. And then they were there for so long that it became natural. They just stopped caring. And the North Koreans would come down the river, they'd come down the river and
Wave and whatever.
just wave, and they just keep on going.
Interesting.
It was kind of funny. But the funny part is that there was a general that came by to look at what was going on. And by this time, it was so casual that the Americans were out there sunbathing. They had their shirts off. They're all having barbecues up the hill. And the North Koreans are just on this other hill. And this Korean general comes up to it, and he's like ducking. He's throwing himself on the floor, ground, because he's like,
They're right there.
right there. But Americans can't speak Korean. He can't speak English. And so he's just pointing like. And then my dad walks up to him, or my grandpa walks up to him and says, because he's trying to say that it's fine, just stand up. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And the way he says it is he says like, we know bang bang them, they know bang bang us.
Yeah.
We know bang bang. And my dad, I grew up with that story. My brothers just for laugh at that thing, but
No bang bang.
that's how he.
Yeah.
Spoke it in English and says,
Right.
if
Yeah.
we know bang bang them, they know bang bang us, we know bang bang.
Yeah. All right. There you go. Yeah.
And that's what it was.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what it was. But
Sounds like reminds me of was it World War I on Christmas Day? They kind of called a ceasefire, an unofficial
I
ceasefire.
had a movie out of it.
Yeah, that's right. And they had lunch or dinner together, and
Yeah. And they couldn't shoot at each other.
Couldn't
They
shoot,
each other. And then they ended up transferring all of them because they wouldn't shoot at each other.
yeah, afterwards,
Both
yeah, because
sides
they made
ended up
friends. Yeah.
transferring all of them.
Yep.
Both sides transferring because they wouldn't shoot at each other.
Yep.
Such a human story.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. Oh, Afghanistan.
Oh, you caught it right out the gate. Afghanistan.
Yep. Yep. Never been.
No.
But it's a lovely place. No.
Well, you can tell it's Afghanistan because Afghanistan is more mountainous than Iraq was. So
Absolutely.
you see the mountains, you see the soldiers, you automatically know it's Afghanistan. So
Yep.
the one sad thing about Afghanistan is the pullout.
It's too bad. Yeah.
Oh, just horrendous how much we left behind there.
Yep.
There's
Equipment, material, the bombing at the airport there. In fact, the one of the Marines that was killed, I worked with his father in law enforcement when I was on the gang unit. He was a K-9 for West Valley, Darren Hoover. He was the staff sergeant that was killed from Utah. So worked pretty close with his dad.
How does Dad take that?
Not good.
Not good at all.
Nope.
Well, there's what was that called? The Southern Gate or something like that, where the bomb happened. The Southern Gate. I think it was Southern Gate. They have a specific name for the gate. But I've told this story before. But the soldier that was at that gate was on the Sean Ryan show, and it kind of tells that entire experience of him being at the gate. And they had notified everybody that we have intelligence, and the person that actually gave them intelligence was actually physically there, and an Afghan that came forward and said, "Look, you're gonna have a suicide bomber.
Yeah.
It's coming." And he gave them a description of the suicide bomber so they even knew what he looked like, and his handler. He says, and he's going to have a handler, and the handler is going to look like this.
Yeah.
So the U.S. government had all the information. They knew who the bomber was going to be. They knew who the handler was. They had a basic description of him, and they said, you need to watch out for these people. They're going to suicide bomb.
Yeah.
And so the soldier at that gate was bringing people in, and he said all day long they were trying to get as many people in as possible.
Right.
But up from up superiors would turn a lot of people back.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, the second we turned them back, we know they're dead, because the Taliban was literally stood there waiting for people to get turned back.
Right.
And then they'd put them up at the wall, and they'd shoot them right then and there in front of the U.S. soldiers on purpose, because they knew they couldn't do anything about it.
Crazy.
So it was horrible. They said they literally would just shoot them right then and there.
Yeah.
And right outside the gate was this sewer canal, and they said it was sewer. And they said people were swimming through it, trying to get through and get over and cross the fence to get in.
Yeah.
They said they had people holding babies and kids up, walking through it to get over the gate and try to get in.
Crazy.
He said it was a horrific scene, and he said all day long it was people just constantly getting lined up, getting pulled out of line, lined up and just shot.
It's insane.
And the superiors during that administration
wouldn't allow them to go.
Wouldn't allow them to do anything. Wouldn't let them do anything.
That whole pullout was crazy. Just
the Biden administration wouldn't let them do anything.
Yeah.
So they're all day they're watching people get shot and killed just right in front of the soldiers. The soldiers can't do anything about it. And then right at the gate, there's a tower sitting above the gate, and the sergeant in charge, and he's the guy that's on the Sean Ryan show, and he's missing his arms and his legs. He's got nothing left. Gets called up and says, I found the guy, the suicide bomber. He's here.
Yeah.
And he had a scope on. He goes up there. He gets down on the scope, and sure enough, there's the suicide bomber and the handler, exact description.
Yeah.
You could tell they probably had a vest on. And so he calls up and says, "Insight, can we take the shot?"
Yeah.
No, can't take the shot.
That's insane.
It can't take the shot. It can't do it. And so they said, well, someone's got to come down here. So they call him, come down in here, and then the base commander comes over, gets on scope and says, "Yep, that's him. Can we shoot him?" And he said, "I don't know. It's above my pay grade."
What?
So he leaves and says, "Let me go find out." The base commander.
You'd think he would have been able to just make that call.
But make that call, right?
Yeah.
He leaves and he says, "We never see him again."
That's crazy.
He's a complete no-show, doesn't respond. We call up and said, "Hey, he's here." And they said, "We had him on scope for over an hour."
That's nuts.
On scope. They could have taken him out at any time. On scope for over an hour. And they says, then all of a sudden he disappears. Says, we can't find him. All of a sudden, he said, it was an hour, 15 hour, 10 minutes later, he's gone. We can't find him. Then the sergeant goes down to help this lady, and her two kids were trying to get on because this man was trying to get his wife and kids on. And he knew him because he was one of his translators. He says, "No worry about it. We're going to get you in here." And he's in the middle pulling this man on with his wife and two kids when the bomb goes off.
Cool.
Takes him out, and then he wakes up. He says his leg was over one place, his arm was gone. I mean, I think he's got one arm left or something like that, but both legs were gone, one arm was gone. I think the man's wife was dead, and one of the kids, and the man and one of the kids lived, and then there was like 25 other Afghanis were all dead.
Right.
When the bomb went off. And he says that's when he got mad.
Yeah.
When he got out of the military, he just went completely public on it because
good for him.
we could have stopped this. Yeah. We had him on scope, 100%. And we couldn't get permission to shoot him.
I want to know who that base commander is and why he wouldn't make that decision.
And he said, well, they said later that he investigated. And he said it went to the Pentagon, and they said no.
Really?
It went all the way to the top.
That's
even worse.
Yeah, absolutely. That's even worse. That's too bad.
And I think it went to the White House even, but
yeah, crazy. The decisions we make.
The decisions they made. It was horrific.
Absolutely.
And that just tells you the difference in administrations. Also,
for sure.
Doers. We're going to solve the problem.
Yep.
Just like what Trump's doing right now in Iran. The media is just killing that thing when he's doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
There's no boots on the ground.
Yeah.
We're not sacrificing any people. No one's died yet.
Yep.
But we're not going to let them have a nuclear bomb, or we're not going to let them control the Strait of Hormuz. Those are just simple no's.
Right.
But it doesn't matter because Trump's doing it.
Right. Yeah. No matter what he does is wrong. It's crazy.
He's doing it.
That Trump derangement syndrome is a thing, man. It really is.
Yeah, it is.
It just blows my mind. Blows my mind. I was at an event, I was at a thing the other day. I went and saw my mom. She was at work, and I met this lady that she worked with, and she called him what'd she call him? The orange-haired emperor.
I get.
And I was just like, I kept my mouth shut. I was in uniform.
I
I'm not gonna
can't.
say
I can't
anything.
keep my mouth shut.
I was in uniform, so you learn. You can't, really can't say certain things, and so I just kept my mouth shut, just ignored it, and went on. But just like, really, like, yeah. And she made some comment about how bad he is or whatever he's doing. Anyway, it's just like he could have the cure for cancer, and it would be bad. That cure would be the worst thing that ever happened because he came up with it. Just anyway, yeah. So yeah, I'm with you. Pretty crazy.
Okay, what's this?
Oh, go for. Yeah.
Desert Storm.
Desert Storm. Yep.
So this is the one I grew up with.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I remember being a teenager when this started.
Yeah.
This is really one you started having the embedded news media.
Yeah.
And 24/7 news cycle started. I mean, this is the first time Fox, CNN had it on the 24/7 news cycle. I mean, it hadn't happened before this. Obviously, we had embedded news media in Korea and Vietnam, but we didn't have the 24-hour news cycle back then.
Right. Yep.
So Desert Storm was the first time where we had embedded news media. And not only was it embedded, but it was live.
Yeah.
Because Vietnam and Korea was not live. It was delayed by a few days and filmed and brought back. This was the first time it was live and 24/7, which really brought the war into everybody's living room.
Everyone's home. Yeah.
Everybody just lived and breathed this thing. I remember as a teenager in high school, just every day just living and breathing this war.
And
I
how
knew
often
people had served in it.
Yeah.
I had friends that had their dads over there. It was just a crazy time.
And then how often did General Powell speak? He spoke pretty regularly about it. And it was pretty interesting to see a general speaking regularly about, if I remember that, I think he was the general at the time. No, Schwarzkopf. Anyway,
the one other thing I want to point out here is I think this is the first war where Americans started getting spoiled.
Yeah.
Because you look at how many people died in Vietnam. We had thousands, tens of thousands of Americans died in Vietnam. We had tens of thousands in Korea.
Right.
Don't even want to talk about World War II and World War I, how many people died.
Yep.
But in Desert Storm, the entire war was like, 3,000?
Yeah, it was minimal. Yeah, for a war anyway. For sure.
And it was like once in a week, once in 2 weeks, you'd hear 2 people died, 3 people died.
Right. Nothing crazy like big battles that happened that killed just tons of people, hundreds of people. Yeah, it's...
Then a helicopter crashed, 16 people died, and the whole country would freak out.
Right.
If it was 16 and not 2.
Right.
We really got spoiled in this war. And ever since then, we've had this level that we have to sustain of minimal American death. The expectations, right?
Yeah.
And bad politics, if anything above that happens, and you can't control that because it's war.
Right.
So as we get into Iraq and Afghanistan, get these into forever 20-year wars, and we get so many people dying that people are starting getting upset now because why isn't this Desert Storm, right? We were in and out and had to go. We didn't
lose too many people. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
But for some reason, between Desert Storm and Afghanistan and Iraq, the military complex got involved and wanted to create the forever war.
Forever war, yeah.
They were making bucks.
Make money. That war makes money. It does. Yep, for sure.
I mean, this is the last war we had a purpose, and everybody remembers.
Yeah, sure.
Saddam Hussein getting pulled out of the hole in the ground.
Such a great.
I mean, that's got to be on everybody's mind. At least those older people. I don't know about the younger generation. They may not even know that it even happened, right? I mean, kids were like, "Oh, he got pulled out of a hole in the ground." No, it was literally the hole in the ground was barely big enough for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
he got pulled out.
All disheveled and hair and beard were all long, and he was all dirty and nasty, and they pulled him out of a hole in the ground. Yeah,
kind of crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
go from Afghanistan to
Africa,
Iraq,
Mogadishu. Oh, okay.
This is Iraq.
Yeah.
And Iraq was interesting because instead of being fought up in the mountains and stuff like this, Iraq was the one war that was door to door.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Door to freaking door.
City fighting door to door. Yep, absolutely.
They literally would, entire platoons would, just like you're seeing now, would just go down the streets.
Yep.
Literally go door to door.
Yeah.
Try to find.
Yeah.
The insurgency is what they had back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Find rifle caches and
RPGs
and roadside bombs. And
Battle of Fallujah was just it was one of the worst ones the Marines went through. And I think the 04, 05, I had a couple of buddies that went through there and did that. I didn't make it to Iraq either, fortunately. They went through, and it was some of the craziest door-to-door fighting there. And dropped leaflets basically saying, hey, if on this time we're coming through, and if you're here, we're going to consider you an enemy combatant. So if you're not, go ahead and leave. If you're here between this day and this day, we're shooting. We're going to kill you. And they did. And we lost a lot of Marines, and it was a really good push. We went through there twice. And
It shows you how different war is
100%,
from Vietnam to Korea to World War II, where you're fighting across fields. You got tank battles. You got specific positions you're taking. And this is just literally
door to door.
Door to door.
There was some door to door in Vietnam, but not to this level. This was big city fighting. It just
Door to door.
crazy.
And the deaths were crazy because you'd hit a door and it could just blow up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It happened many, many times. Or you'd get stuck inside of a building where they would go inside the building, and then all of a sudden all hell would break loose outside, and they'd be pinned inside of that building.
Yeah.
And there's several movies made out about that where the soldiers get pinned inside of these buildings, and then all these other people come help, pull them out.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then they know that they're coming, and then they get ambushed in the streets coming up to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have more people dying, and it was just crazy stories coming out of Iraq.
For sure. Absolutely.
Well, let's get to what you were just talking about.
Oh, there we go. Mogadishu, Somalia. Yep.
Yep. And now we have all these Somalians in country.
Right. Yeah. We have a lot of refugees coming over for sure. Yeah, definitely. It's pretty nuts. One of my gunnery sergeants, when I was in the Marine Corps, he was there in Mogadishu. And it was funny, the saying went that, that didn't happen until the Marines left. That actually happened 3 weeks after the Marines left. And there was a saying that, not a saying, but there was a belief among the Somalis that to become a Marine, you had to kill your firstborn child to become a Marine. So that's why a lot of them think they didn't attack while the Marine Corps was there, because Marines were so crazy that they went through that to do something like that to become a Marine. And they could tell us apart because, we roll our sleeves differently than the Army does, and it kind of goes white. They said the white sleeve guys they're Marines, you don't mess with them, they'll kill you. And that's the running joke in the Marine Corps that it didn't happen because the Marines were there, and it didn't happen until we left. So that's kind of was the running joke on the Marine Corps side. Yeah, that only happened because the Marines left town.
Well, it was the one.
Any truth to that or anything, but obviously us as egotistical Marines, that's what we joke.
This is the one movie that was made by the actual people that were there.
Yeah, yeah.
And so people always look at these Hollywood movies like Saving Private Ryan and all these other movies, The Lone Survivor, and there's a lot of really good movies out there.
Yeah.
But Black Hawk Down was made by the soldiers that were there. And so it was probably the most realistic movie of all time is what
for sure
is being said about it.
Absolutely.
How realistic that fight was.
Yep.
And the snipers getting out of the helicopter to save the down chopper. I mean, they don't have any automatic weapons. They got a single shot bolt action rifle, crazy. And they're trying to hold off everybody until they can save the pilots.
Gorgeous.
Just mean how many soldiers just took to get in there and just get the few out. But that's what the Americans do. We sacrifice it. And this was kind of the time during this period where we hear the saying coming, I think it came from the French or it came from the English, and says, if you ever get in a jam and you're radioing for help, you pray that the Americans answer, because they don't ask questions. They just say, we're on our way. And they said they don't need to know where it is, how bad it is. All they say is, we're on our way.
Yeah.
And he says that's heartwarming to me, because
good feeling.
Good feeling, because that no soldier left behind, right?
Right.
I don't care if you're American or not.
No, it doesn't matter.
We'll go get you.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have other countries saying that about us, we know what the kind of men we had during this point in time.
Right. Absolutely.
And then you go to, this is the one of the most upsetting. I couldn't leave it out. What is that?
Benghazi.
Benghazi.
Yeah, Benghazi. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
I actually met, I'm going to lose his name. One of the authors of the book. He was a ranger. Why am I drawing a blank? I follow him on Instagram and Facebook, and I can picture his face. Anyway, I met him, and he came and spoke at an event that I was at, and got to meet him and chat with him for a minute. I drawing a complete blank. Anyway, but great guy, really good guy. Pretty crazy what happened there. Now, that was another we talked about earlier. You know, the politicians just making a poor decision to not save American lives.
I mean, just
you know, like
stay out of the way and let soldiers do what they do.
100%. Yeah, and we're to save American lives. And let us get down there and do what we do. 100%. And
This goes right to Hillary Clinton's doorstep, right?
right.
Because it goes according to her, and she did nothing. And people are trying to find other people to blame. No,
nope, went straight.
This isn't on Hillary.
Yeah,
I wish I could have my son retell me that story, but he was playing like in the video games out. Like he played, he said he was playing with the guys. One of the guys that was in there was telling them, "We're gonna die. She's not sending him." And he came to my home crying, and he's like, "Hillary's killing them."
That's insane. Yeah, that's crazy.
No, it's crazy what happened there.
Absolutely.
Because you have contracted military, because they're not even active military. They're contractors
Yep.
going over to protect the CIA complex.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the embassy that's down the street from them.
Yep. The State Department.
They're not
guys over
even
there.
active military. They're hired. They're just supposed to be there to babysit stuff like that. And yet they get one of the biggest firefights
Crazy.
in recent history, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the closest people we had to them was in Italy.
Yeah.
And those people immediately get on a plane, C-130, and they're like, "No, we're going." And they're already flying over there to get over there.
Yep.
And yet they get stuck at the airport.
Right.
And they can't, Hillary Clinton won't let them get off the airport.
So crazy.
Because you can't leave the airport.
Nefarious or stupidity?
Nefarious.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
They were there for hours before then.
Yeah.
The firefights going on all night long.
They didn't let them go.
And Hillary won't let them off the airport.
Yeah.
They don't get off the airport till the following morning.
Right.
When the whole fight's already over with.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Some of those decisions to those levels from people that don't have any experience in that world. And I mean, I recognize, you know, that we founded our government the way it is, that our military is run by civilians. I'm okay with that. But at some point, you got to let us do our jobs. You know, at some point, you got to take off the handcuffs and let us do our jobs, especially.
It's not just doing your jobs. When you hear another American,
that's what I'm saying.
the one thing I loved about Rome is you cannot hurt a Roman anywhere in the Roman Empire. You hurted a Roman, and
You're
the
done.
whole Roman Empire would come. They would send a legion after you.
Yeah.
Just by hurting one. It just had to be a Roman citizen, right?
Right. Yeah. Roman
You didn't touch a Roman citizen, period.
Yeah. No, absolutely not.
And that's the way it should be with Americans. You don't touch an American, period, or we're coming after you.
Absolutely.
And when you have something like this going where someone just doesn't care about human life, that's what it boils down to is they care more about their standing, about the political arrangements they're making with foreign governments. And they don't say, well, this is a necessary evil or
Collateral damage.
collateral damage.
Absolutely not.
Just
It's not acceptable.
horrific.
Yeah, I'm with you.
One of the most heartwarming stories about this, and they showed this on the movie, because this is another movie that was made by the people who were there.
Yep.
I mean, they interviewed them, and it was made by them. So everything that helps in there was pretty freaking accurate.
Right.
And obviously they're holding off these people during you have the zombie zone, which they called it.
Yeah.
And where they're just holding people off, barely holding them off.
Right.
They get to the next morning, they're running out of ammunition. They have no idea when help's going to get there. Sun's coming up, and all of a sudden, trucks of soldiers start coming in, and they're like, "We're all dead. We're not going to survive this. There is no way. We're almost out of ammunition. We barely survived the night.
Yep.
We're not going to survive this. We're all dead. So just." And they said, "We'll just fight to the last man." I mean, they're literally saying this to themselves as they are interviewed afterwards. We're just gonna fight the last man, fight the last bullet. And he said literally the guys start to pull their knives out.
Yeah, getting ready for hand to hand. Yeah.
Going hand to hand because they're just out.
Yep.
And then I don't remember his name, but he was up on top of the roof. And to the friendlies, to know that they're friendly, they
zombie.
Zombie. And they just got used to it. And he was up there, he's on scope, and he just
like gave it a shot. I was like, I might as well try.
Try it, and then they do it back, and then he said, you see him, he just balls up. He just tears up because he knows he's not going to die.
Yeah.
They're friendlies, they're ours.
Right.
And then they make it back to the airport.
Yeah.
And
so cool.
They get over to the embassy, they pull out the dead.
Yeah.
The ambassador, they put in one of the cars with them, and they pull his body out.
Yeah.
Just a horrific story.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So the ambassador actually landed in the hospital. They pulled, I don't know if it was one of the locals, they found his body and pulled him out. and they took him to a hospital, and they actually went to the hospital and got his body and brought him back to the airfield.
That's what it was. They got in the
Pretty
hospital.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty nuts. So he was already pronounced dead when he got to the hospital, but you know, it's crazy to think that there was somebody, some good person in there that took care of what they thought a human life at that point. But you know, one in thousands of people that want to kill Americans that just did something right, and a whole bunch of bad. So
Wow.
pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah. Imagine if those people attacking the Americans would have seen that person, they would have killed that person for dragging the ambassador down to the hospital. You know, just
Yeah.
pretty crazy. Yeah.
So what was let's go to your
Sure.
military experience. You were in, what were you in as?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I was in the Marine Corps, 99 to 03. I was in the infantry. I saw the movie Full Metal Jacket. I fell in love with Vietnam movies when I was a kid.
Full Metal Jacket got you into the military.
Full Metal Jacket got me joined the Marine Corps specifically, and that's I was really into Vietnam War movies growing up, and I read a lot of Vietnam War books, and I saw Full Metal Jacket, and I was like, I want to go be a Marine, and that's what I did. I went in the boot camp out of high school and went in the infantry, and was stationed in Hawaii. So pretty cool. I did a couple deployments over to Okinawa, went to the Philippines, Australia. Philippines was the only like a real world op, we call it. Didn't make it to Afghanistan or Iraq. I was in the 3rd Marine Division, which area of operations was Southeast Asia. So I got to watch the ground war kick off in 03. Sorry, 02 from TV. So in Okinawa, on the barracks, just watched all my buddies that I went to boot camp with go to war, and just kind of kick back and watch. So it's kind of interesting, you know, I kind of liken it to, you know, being on a major.
Can't be
league
that
sports
hard
team.
to get to be in Hawaii.
I mean,
that's kind of
I lucked out on that one, but like I said earlier, kind of get island fever after a while. You do all the touristy stuff and you do all the fun stuff, and then as a young PFC, you don't make much money, and it costs a lot to go home. You drive around the island like 2 hours or something like that. And
Do you interact much with the locals or anything?
So before 9/11, the locals really didn't like us. Like, I don't know if it was a military thing or whatever, but every time we go out in town, they'd, you know, try to find us. We had a group up together.
I know.
Once 9/11 happened,
Pretty liberal
Yeah.
over there.
yeah, yeah. And then 9/11 happened, and it was like a switch. It was really cool to see. Everybody loved us, and we'd be out on the beach or whatever, swimming and do whatever, and people come up and thank us for our service and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool transition to see that. But yeah, prior to that, they didn't really like us.
You didn't pick up surfing while you're over there?
No, one of the only fears I have in my life is open water. I don't like when I'm floating there. I can scuba dive, I can snorkel, I'm okay with that. But if I'm just sitting there and I can't see, I always have this feeling someone's going to come up and grab me and pull me under.
You seen Jaws too many times when you were growing up or
I
something?
must have, yeah. I don't know, Jaws or like the old Leviathan, Deep Star 6. I was into those kind of fantasy.
I was in a boat capsize as a teenager.
Oh,
So
really?
it was after
Okay.
that I developed that.
Sure, fully understand that. I remember going to Bear Lake as a kid with my mom, and the water was so crystal clear. I looked down, I saw this big monster fish, and I don't know what kind of fish it was. I have no idea to this day. It looked so big to me, but it scared me so bad. I was like, that fish is bigger than I am. And then they were telling me stories that, you know, Bear Lake was connected to Loch Ness, and the Loch Ness monster transfers back and forth.
I heard those.
I heard that as a kid, so I think it was a combination of those few things that gave me this fear of open water. So even to this day, like even going to the lake, if I'm just have like a life vest on and I'm out floating or we're boating or whatever, and I jump in or whatever, I get the chills, and I got to put my toes up above the water and kind of float there, and I usually get back on the boat as fast as I can.
Oh, I can
Jet
be in a
ski,
hot
whatever.
tub and it's nighttime, and if there's shadows, I just kind of draw my knees up, drape them over my husband's lap,
yeah.
and he knows. I'm like, it's not realistic.
Right, yeah.
Obviously, you know something's
Oh, yeah,
there,
for
but
sure.
it doesn't matter. I get all tight.
Oh yeah, I'm not quite to that level, but as a kid, like, even swimming pools, like I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bountiful. We had the bubble there, right? That was the outdoor swimming pool. They have like a vent, you know, in the deep end where they just a little vent. I don't know if it's circulated water or whatever, but well, I would jump off the diving board, but I'd look at that vent, and then as soon as I hit the water, I was swimming to the side as fast as I could, because I thought something was going to come out of the vent and grab me, and pull me under.
No, if I can see through the water, I'm okay.
Oh,
If it's
I'm good
dark,
now.
I
I'm
can't
better
see through
now.
it, then I don't do it.
I can do okay in lakes. Pine View scares me because of the what are they? The tiger muskies. I'm always scared. I'm gonna get my little toes bit, you know, nibbled on.
You spearfish them.
Yeah, do you? I mean, I like fishing. I like to do that, but
My
in the
brother
water with them?
spearfished like a 4.5 footer.
Really?
Pretty big.
Oh, that's cool. Does he actually snorkel to spearfish them, or?
He's a free diver.
Oh, free. Oh, that's cool. Nice.
He's on the USA team.
Oh,
Team USA for free diving.
That's pretty cool.
Well, that's
yeah.
I live on a little reservoir, and so I'll go out on the paddleboard.
Okay.
And
yeah.
I don't like have to step. We have a little dock, and I can step from that
yeah,
around.
yeah.
But once in a while, you'll hear, like
something
on the
hit
bottom of the boat, and I'm like,
Like, oh no. Yeah.
the heck is that?
Right.
That's food. That's dinner.
Fish, yeah. Right. Yeah. Take the pole out with you and catch it.
I'd be excited to hear that. I'm like, what?
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah. No, so yeah, going back to Station Hawaii was cool. I was a part of an Amtrak company. So
What does that mean?
so an Amtrak is the big tank that floats on water.
Oh,
And this is like insane. This the whole theory of a tank that floats on water just blows my mind. And
so does it amphibious? Does it
yeah,
drive
it's
when it
amphibious. Yeah, so as soon as it hits land, it has tank treads, and then on the back it has these kind of turbine type things, and that's what pushes it around in the water and it comes on. It's pretty cool. And like I was talking about earlier, though, it was the craziest feeling the first time I was on one of those. And you know, you go inside, you're on the back of a ship. Basically, there are these troop ships, and there's a big door on
This
the back
right
of the
here?
ship. That's an Amtrak right there. Yep. So on the troop ships that you're on, the back door,
Does yours look like that one or look like one like this one?
more like the first one.
Like this one?
Yeah, pretty similar to that one. Yeah.
And the door's on the back of it, I guess.
Yeah, door's on the back of it, and that's what opens up. Yeah, if you the bottom left right there, that's the door opening up right there. There you go. Yep, that's an Amtrak. You fit about 10 to 12 Marines in the back with your gear and stuff, and that door closes, and all you can smell is diesel fumes, and the smoke comes in, and it's supposed to be airtight, but or watertight, but those seals kind of go bad, and water comes in anyway. So on the back of the ship, it's a big gate that opens, and they flood the back end of the ship, and that the Amtrak just slowly comes down the thing, and as it kind of comes, it teeters for a second before it falls in the water. And the trackers would tell you, they said, hey, listen, this is the moment of truth. Like, this is where you're going to sink or swim. Literally, your Amtrak's going to either go straight to the bottom, or it's going to come back up, and you know you're going to float all the way. You're going to make it to land. And it was one of the scariest feelings I think I ever had, because
So it comes off the boat and just
it just falls. It falls 8 or 10 feet or so, because it's so heavy, right? It's
Yeah.
a metal, you know, until it
8
gets
to 10 feet.
until it gets the buoyancy and then comes back up. Yeah, it's insane.
I'm saying.
That's what it felt like. Maybe in my mind, maybe it was only 1 or 2 feet, but in my mind, it was significant, because I thought for that split second we weren't coming back up. We were just going to go right down to the bottom. But we came up, luckily, and I've been on them a couple times, you know, throughout the time there. And
but there's
pretty fun
oxygen in it.
I mean, you call diesel fumes pouring in mixed with oxygen. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to breathe in there. You try and fall asleep, people are throwing up. I had claustrophobic friends that are
That's
freaking out.
great smell. Throw up with
Yeah.
diesel fuel.
Yeah,
That's going to be
nasty.
great.
And they tell you don't throw up in the Amtrak, because these guys they'll make you clean it up or whatever. So people are throwing up in their helmet and basically holding it till we get to land so they can dump it out or rinse it out in the ocean. It just pretty crazy experience. Fun experience after you're done, but while you're going through it, not the best. But yeah, did those a couple times. That was pretty fun. Landed on Kauai, did some operations out in Hawaii called RIMPAC, which is just big unilateral exercise with other countries, and they just do kind of big war games and land on the beachhead, and great
With
time.
other
Great
countries?
experience. Yeah, we did it with, I think one year we did it with Canada and the Mexican Navy, interestingly enough. And they've got their ship came up, and I don't know how it supported us, because we did our thing. We just saw it, and then it came by. There's a Navy ship that was a ways away, and we could see the Mexican flag on it, and it was all rusted out and stuff. You know, looked a lot more rusted than one we were on, because obviously there's rust on every ship because you're at sea. But yeah, did that, and that was pretty fun. So went through that experience. It was a really good time. I thought all growing up I was going to either be a 20-year Marine or end up dead, you know, going to war or whatever the case may be. And decided, you know, I don't want to have a family in that environment, because back then especially in the infantry, you did 7-month rotations on a deployment. So when you're gone for 7 months and back for 14 months, and if you back home, you were also going to these month-long exercises or other trainings where you're just gone. So I was like, okay, I'll get out and do something else. And that's kind of how I just kind of fell into law enforcement. So, figured, you know, I'd learned some good skills in the Marines and how to shoot and move and scoot, and I can, you know, transition that over to being in law enforcement. So that's kind of what I did. did pretty good there, and I've had some really, really fun times on SWAT and gangs. So,
Well, let's get into that
yeah,
because that's what everybody wants to hear about.
everybody
is
wants
the
to hear it,
SWAT-
for sure.
SWAT and gang
Yeah,
stories.
absolutely. Yeah. So
So go into your SWAT experiences and then
yeah, I'll kind of roll into how I kind of got there too. So I started out of the state prison, and I got assigned to the old one at Draper. That's not there anymore.
Yeah.
The one got knocked down. I was in what was called Unit 2, and that was the max gang unit. That was my first assignment. And I didn't really know a whole lot about gangs. I didn't really, I knew there were gangs out there and stuff, but the people there gave me a gangs 101 introduction kind of class and kind of taught me about the different types of gangs, what gangs are here in Utah. And it really sparked my interest. So I did that for a little while in the prison. I made their SWAT team, did that. It was a great time, got some good experiences, met some great people. They sent me through the academy, and I got recruited from there to come work the streets for the sheriff's office. And coming out working the streets was really cool and fun. And what I really did then focused my attention, when you're in law enforcement, everyone kind of falls into a niche, right? So you got your guys that love to do traffic. They love to give tickets and speeding tickets.
these guys that like to do traffic.
Guys that like to do traffic. It's crazy. Yeah.
I know he says sparked my interest. I'm like, what sparks your interest? Sparks my interest. We're different.
Totally different. Yeah. I didn't really enjoy that. That's not my thing. I don't like just, doing speed enforcement, or we need those people though, right? We just have to.
I know we need it, but I don't know anybody actually liked it.
I know guys that do, and they enjoy it. DUIs, it's a pain in the butt to do for officers.
I could see DUIs because you want to pull
There's a
people
little
off, but
comedy in
regular
there.
traffic tickets. I'd be bored silly.
But through my experience and I would focus on fugitives and gang members and guns and drugs. That was my thing, is taking the bad guys off the street that hurt people. The speeders and all that, the soccer moms speeding to get their Starbucks, whatever. That wasn't really my thing, so I focused on bigger stuff, and that's really what kind of directed me and guided me. I kind of fell into that fugitive and gun hunting phase. That's what I did. And there's people that like to do, COP stuff and shake hands and do all that stuff and interact with people. And I loved chasing bad guys. That was my thing. And
So meeting these gang members in the prison, are you getting information for them to go find members on the
I
street?
hadn't at the prison so much. I wasn't there super long. When I got on the streets and I started developing informants that way, yeah, absolutely. So I worked through patrol, and I kind of had that niche for hunting bad guys, and that's what I kind of fell into, and that's what I really enjoy to do: finding warrants, taking people to jail on their warrants, turning it into gun and drug cases, because they just happen to be on stolen cars was a big thing of mine too. I stumbled across a lot of occupied stolen cars, and that's one of another niche that I kind of fell into too, that I really, really, I think I excelled in. And I really attribute a lot of this to my one of my first sergeants that I had, and I grew up with him. I'll name drop him as Lex Bell. He's the current chief of Moab, but he really took me under his wing.
How do you get that job? I would love to have.
Pretty interesting story.
Chief of Moab.
One of my other buddies was the chief down there, and he brought him down as his assistant chief. Then he took another job up at the state,
Who wouldn't want to live in Moab?
and he's the chief now. Yeah, in Moab, right?
The Hawaii of Utah.
Crazy,
Seriously.
man. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So so he really kind of showed me the ropes on how to look for fugitives, how to identify and find stolen cars, and it really carried me into that gang world, because at the time the gang unit when I was on, they really focused on suppression, and that's really just hammering down on gang members, just going out there and finding them and putting them in check and getting them cases on them, putting them in jail, putting them in federal prison. And
During that time, were most of them actual citizens?
yeah. I mean, there was still like a handful of illegals, quite a bit. It didn't seem like I don't think it was such a focus as it is now, right? We ran into them all the time.
You didn't run into a lot of Trendy Agua.
Trendy Agua wasn't around back then.
The Sinaloa cartel people.
Yeah, we did have cartel people that we'd bump into every now and again. We didn't really focus on that so much. Our narcotics guys did, because here locally, the cartel guys, they do commit homicides and stuff like that, but they try and not do it as much because they don't want to bring as much attention to themselves, right? So the gang members that are tied to these cartels, they'll go out and do that work for them. That's how they generally like to do it. They will go out and commit murders if they need to. There's been a handful for a time.
If they need to.
I've never
if they
needed
really
to.
have to. For business or, ego or pride, whatever the case. Maybe they got wronged by one of their drug dealers for whatever reason, right? They usually like to try and keep it quiet, trying to keep the heat off them, and a lot of the gang members will do this stuff for them. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of how I got into the gang unit, and being a detective on that was amazing. Rolling
So
around
between 2000 and 2010 and 2020, I mean, how bad is the gangs in Utah compared to like an LA?
yeah,
Denver?
I mean, so we have every major gang that every major city has: Bloods, Crips, Sureños, Norteños, white supremacist gangs, black gangs. The Sureños and Norteños are mainly Hispanic, but there's a handful of whites, especially here locally. A lot of the gangs bleed over because we have, obviously, most of our population's white. So the black gangs have white gang members. Hispanic gangs have white members. The white supremacist ones don't. They're the only ones that are strictly by
How
race.
big do you think these games are? I mean, what do you think their population is?
I know, I've been out of the gang thing for quite a while. I know the last time, I know in rough numbers, right around documented, I want to say there's known around 5,000 gang members in the state. As far as the bigger cities, I would say that they commit all the same crimes, just at a lot lower scale, right? So when you talk about big cities like LA, their gang culture, I would say, and the way it's set up is a lot different than ours, because there they have blocks and streets that are very specific to gangs, and very specific gangs run those blocks and those areas and those neighborhoods, right? We don't have that in Salt Lake City or in Utah. We don't have gangs that run certain areas. So it's really interwoven. It's kind of strange. You could have rival gang members that basically live across the street from themselves or from each other. And I don't know if it's like an unsaid thing, while they're home, they won't go to war with each other. I think because of their families.
They know bang bang.
They know bang bang, and they know bang bang. We know bang bang. We're okay. Yeah. Outside of that area, though, they see them absolutely all day. They'll take care of business. But so it's very similar to the bigger cities, but it's in our own respect, it's very different because of the way that it's set up. But that being said, we also, a lot of our gangs here take their orders from the bigger gangs, mostly LA. Most of our orders that come down from LA. So you'll have gangs are somewhat of a paramilitary structure. They're structured into a pyramid ranks system, kind of like our military. You start out as like basically a soldier, and then you have sergeants, you have captains, lieutenants, and you'll have shot callers. They kind of name them different names, but essentially that's what it is, right? There's levels of
There's
leadership.
lieutenants.
Lieutenants, yeah. So the lieutenant is one that they actually use. Captains, lieutenants. Some of the gangs use sergeants. Some of them do. They call them enforcers. It just kind of depends on the gang and the verbiage of what they use, but it is an actual rank structure.
No idea.
Most of them are like that. And generally when they go into the jails and prison, that rank structure obviously is in place, and they run it like military. They train every day, they work out every day, and they take care of themselves. They, obviously they stand up for each other in their gang. But yeah, it's called programming. And if they don't program, like if you're a fellow gang member and you don't program, you're basically my shot caller, or my boss is going to say, Ingrid over here is not getting with the program. You better check them. And that's, you basically say you have a day or two to get with the program. If you don't, you basically get beat up. You get a green light put on you. You get beat up.
But they don't kill you.
You get violated. No, at that point, not for something that low level. No, you won't get killed.
Can you get
That's
out that way?
violation? No, most gangs, they say blood in, blood out, but a lot of them will allow like a inactive status. It's kind of funky, but but if you do something against the gang, or if you commit, like they have certain rules. They have.
If you work a job and you're supporting a family and you're like, I can't go to these things.
Sometimes some of the gangs will allow that as an inactive status, but if something kicks off or something big happens, you're still expected to come in and put in work. So not a lot of gangs really recognize that or do that, but some of them do allow them into an inactive status if they're starting to have kids, or they're like, man, I've been in and out of jail so many times. I'm sick of it. I'm done with this life, getting clean or whatever. Sometimes they'll allow them a pass and let them take a few years off, but you're never really truly considered out of the gang unless you.
Not a woman's world over there.
No, yeah, there are women gangs
There are
too.
women
Gang members too. Yeah, so pretty crazy. Yeah, a totally different world than what you'd think of, But that's what fascinated me, was that gang culture and that lifestyle, and wanting to prevent them from committing crimes to innocent people. What's funny is a lot of their gang bylaws will say that you're only allowed to kill other members of gangs or cops. You're not supposed to kill regular citizens,
Yeah.
civilians, without cause, right? Someone comes up and disrespects you, and it comes to that raise that level, then that's okay.
They don't want the heat.
They want the heat. Yeah, absolutely.
So does law enforcement make a difference? Do we make a dent?
Yes, we do. The thing that's unfortunate now, so I'll kind of go back in the history a little bit for Salt Lake specifically. So we started seeing some of these smaller gang problems in the 80s and 90s, not to major levels. I don't know if you guys remember when California passed their 3-strike law. And what was it? After your third conviction of a felony, I don't remember if it has to be aggravated or not, but you get 25 to life. That was passed in the 80s or 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Straight 3-strike law. So that pushed a ton of gang members who were already on second or maybe third strike, already had 3 or 4 felonies. They're like, no, I'm not going to go do 25 to life for the next case I catch. So a lot of them started moving east, and a lot of them ended up in Salt Lake City. And that's where a lot of our gangs kind of came from, and a lot of our culture came from LA. So when I say that our gangs basically are the same, because they came from LA. And that's why we still have a lot of those connections to them. Well, now, 30, 40 years later, we've got generational gang members who, those original gang members from California that have shown up, they never left that lifestyle, and they wanted to stay in that lifestyle. And now you have their kids and their grandkids that are now gang members that just chose to stay in that lifestyle. So to say we're making a dent, yes, absolutely we are. Because the opposite of that, of doing nothing, would obviously just let that overflow. So yeah, I believe that we are. And what the gang unit's doing now, a lot of the cases they're working now are more long-term, and they're working on federal stuff, and they're doing some great things over there. It's really cool to see what they do. And I can't go into too much detail. I don't want to go into detail and give away any, kind of secrets, trade secrets, we'll say. But
So what were the main things? Obviously, you had a drug unit, so and gangs are known for their drugs. So you got somebody else doing the drug unit. What's the gang unit doing? What's different between the drug unit and the gang unit?
yeah, so the narcotics guys generally focus on just drugs specifically, right? And they can focus more on taking down like a network of drug dealers. There's a whole scheme to that too. You got regular drug dealers. The cartels have set up, and the cartels in their line of drug dealers, what they have is, it's a business. It's a delivery business, and they have operators, they have delivery drivers, they have middlemen, they have middle management, they have everything that you can think of like a regular business. They're built out that way. So that's kind of what our narcotics guys do. They'll focus on what's called a drug trafficking organization, a DTO. That's what we call the cartels.
And the ones that are using the people like that came over the border, and
Yeah,
they take
exactly,
their ID
100%.
and tell them, you're going to work for me.
Yep,
For
100%. That's who we'll go grab up, and we'll deal with them, and then kind of try and work up that ladder to identify those people, the higher ups, and just remove them. The problem is, as soon as we take them out, they get somebody right back into place. We'll deport them, and prior to the nice deportation stuff we're doing lately, and with the wall and stuff, I mean, years ago, you would arrest somebody and deport them, and you'd see them back within a couple weeks, and they're just doing the same thing. It's like, what's going on? So I think I like the direction we're going to try and resolve some of those issues, but there's just so many people, to your point, they're forcing these people to come over and do this work, basically saying, if you don't go over and sell drugs for us, I'm going to kill your family. And that's how the cartel get these people over to come and do it. A lot of them will come over and do it willingly too, come over and make money. You think about how easy it is to drive around all day, and you're making a couple $1,000s a week, pretty easy, cash free, or tax free, cash. It looks pretty appetizing for someone who either doesn't want to work, and that's why you see all walks of life walk in the drug trade, because I would say it's easy money, right? I mean, your life's on the line. You can get sent to prison or killed if you lose shipments, or you steal money or stuff like that. They'll kill you, outright. But so sorry, I kind of get sidetracked. I kind of just go on, but yeah, the narcotics unit, that's generally what they focus on, is working on these drug sales and these drug traffickers. Whereas the gang unit, we focus on the gang members, because generally the drug traffickers and those guys, like I said, the cartels will do violent crimes, but for the most part, they're about making money. They're in a business to try and make money, right? So they don't want that heat. They don't want us tearing them down like that. So their trade and their craft is dealing drugs. So that's where they kind of stick. Whereas gang members, they shoot at each other, they kill and hurt each other. which sometimes innocent civilians.
With the gangs, is it really kind of just like a turf war then, or is it really, or are they trying to run a business? Are they trying to do anything, or is it just
sometimes yes, sometimes no?
my territory, your territory?
Yeah, I mean, so to go back to what I talk about with LA, how they have their areas in their neighborhood set up, that's the total turf thing, right? If a rival gang comes into your area, you kill them. You know, that's just how it is. Where we don't have that in Salt Lake, we don't have those specific areas that are set up for specific gangs. It's just when they bump into each other, or they'll meet, or they'll try and go find them. Some of the younger guys that I know when I was coming up in the gang unit, this is some of the initiation. They would get in a stolen car, drive around and try to flee from police. At the same time, they'd also go try and find rival gang members and shoot at them. You hit them, are great. And if not, you know, you earn your street credit by committing crimes like that. So that was the thing that they would do, and that's actually how Cody Brotherson, the West Valley officer, how he got hit and killed was some juveniles that were in a stolen car running around. They fled from police, and when he went out to spike them, they swerved and hit him and killed him. So that's what they were doing. They were getting their street cred and doing their initiation to get into a Sureño gang. So pretty crazy. So yeah, they do dumb stuff. Other than, like I said, the drug dealers and the cartel DTOs, they want to keep it quiet. They don't want to draw attention.
Seems kind of pointless to me, because if you're not in the business, you're not there to make money, and all it is just, if I see you, I'm going to hurt you.
Life.
Yeah, it's really
new
weird.
old machisto thing. And
that's kind of what it comes down to. Yeah, respect and machismo or whatever, and ego. And I have this color and you have a different one, and so we're enemies. And that's really what it comes down to. Because at the end of the day, they're very, very similar. Like I said, they're very similar structured. They have very similar bylaws. They're all pretty much about the same. You know, like it's pretty crazy. But
being on the gang, you know, was just really just stopping battles, stopping fights, or what?
No, we
you
just
guys the
run around.
referee in the middle.
Yeah, that would be fun. No, basically run around trying. So our job was to identify and document them, and then also, you know, try and snatch them up and get a case on them. You know, if we saw somebody that we knew was wanted for any kind of reason, we had a top 10 gang fugitive list that we hunted guys for and tried to put them in jail. And
so what do you think the main crimes were that they were committing? Stolen cars?
Stolen cars, robberies, ag robberies. They'd actually go out and rob drug dealers, you know, because drug dealers have cash. So they'd go out and rob drug dealers. There was a lot of that. A lot of shootings that were happening in my time during the gang unit, especially in the Kearns, West Valley area. A lot of gang-related shootings out there. There was one family that specifically, a Sureño family that lived in Kearns, and they were getting drive-bys on their house regularly. And I don't know if you'll remember, this other rival gang member shot at this house, and as they sped away, they blew through an intersection and actually hit a minivan and killed mother and the child. Yeah, that was during my tenure on the gang unit. It's pretty crazy. So that's why we focused on gangs so much, because they're out doing dumb stuff over, you know, colors and stuff like that, and they're hurting innocent people. So that was kind of our big focus, was to put these really bad guys away, so that we could hopefully prevent them from hurting other people. You know, whether it be
It's like a pointless life.
Yeah, it seems like a pointless life.
Unfulfilling.
Yeah. So
if you don't have some kind of business, you don't have some kind of point out there, and all this is just a.
They
I'm
claim
on
they
this
go
side,
out
you're
to
on
try and
that
make
side,
money,
and we're
like,
just going to fight each other.
yeah. I mean,
Kind of stupid.
They claim they try and make money, and sometimes they'll get hired by some of the drug trafficking organizations as kind of like muscle to escort drugs and money around for them. In fact, I stopped a car in West Valley one night. Was actually on, was it National Geographic that had a Drugs Inc., I think maybe was out with us one night. And I stopped a car leaving a house, a drug house we were watching. We were trying to get probable cause to write a search warrant on it. It was a known gang house, known drug house. Pulled this car over, and it's from Idaho. I think it was from Idaho. 2 white boys up front and a young Hispanic kid in the back. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's kind of odd couple. All right, whatever. Start talking to them, and the 2 guys up front got a pretty straight story. They're like, oh yeah, we're from Idaho. We're just down here for a day or two, see some friends, whatever. Okay, what's your story, bud? What do you mean, what's my story? Oh, what are you up to tonight? What are you doing? Oh, I'm just rolling with these guys. How do you know them? Oh, I don't. Like, wait, what do you mean you don't know them? Oh, I don't know these guys. I just met them tonight. Like, oh, where'd you meet them? Oh, it's over this house. So why are you with them? Oh, they're giving me a ride home. Okay. Anyway, so I developed my probable cause, and I get in the car, end up finding 2 ounces of meth, you know, on the door by one of the drivers, and he breaks down and he tells me, you know, yeah, we're from Idaho. We're here picking up meth to bring back to Idaho because it's cheap down here.
Low.
Well, and it's cheap down here, and they can double and triple their profits by taking it back up to Idaho. Anyway,
Blind van.
so yeah, so I'm sitting there doing this, and I'm telling it this way because it kind of builds, but I did find this a lot earlier. And anyway, so I go around and talk to the kid. I'm like, hey, you need to get out of the car. Okay, he gets out, and he had this like jacket that was just sitting on the thing. I didn't think anything else was cold outside. It was a kind of a lighter jacket, and get him out of the car, and I got my probable cause. So I'm in there searching the car, and first thing I lift the jacket up, it's a loaded AK-47 on the bench right there.
Full AK.
It was a loaded AK-47. Yep, this 18-year-old kid was just sitting there on it, sitting there right there. He could have at any time just grabbed it and gone to work. Luckily, he didn't. He chose to not go into a gunfight that night, and what had come to find out, he was basically security or an armed escort for these two kids who didn't really know where they were, and they just, I don't know how they knew where to buy the drugs from or this meth, but they did, and they got it, and he was kind of their armed escort. Kind of crazy. So yeah,
Kind of big for an escort.
Hey, just a loaded AK, man. It was pretty crazy.
full
That mag
AK,
was full and it was ready to go, man. I was like, shoo, that was a good one. Yeah, but that was a good one. I mean, so that's kind of what we did. You know, that's what we'd work on doing. We'd identify gang houses, identify where they were staying, and try and figure out ways to write search warrants on them and put cases on them and put them in jail and prison. So that's what I spent a lot of my time doing. Wrote search warrants on a couple different, lots of search warrants, but I had pretty good. This is pretty good. I forgot about this. Wrote a search warrant in Salt Lake City on this white supremacist gang member I bumped into. I cultivated this informant, and she's like, hey, I can buy heroin from this guy upstairs. I'm like, okay, cool. It's a little apartment complex. Cool, dress her down, give her money, and she goes up, comes back, buys me some heroin. All right, cool, sounds good. Do it again, get my second buy-in to this house, and she identifies him, lets me know who the guy is, and do my paperwork and everything, and I write a search warrant on this guy's apartment. We go in there and serve the warrant. It was just the gang unit that we served it with. He didn't quite reach the level of the SWAT warrant. We go in there and serve it and find some meth, find some heroin, and back in his big bedroom, there's just these boxes and bags of weed plants. I'm talking and they're like 7-8 feet tall, and he's got bags of them, just brown paper bags. I'm like, oh, cool, right on, because I can get him on cultivation charges, it's felony level, anyway, I was like, all excited about it. And hey, man, reading his Miranda, and hey, tell me what's going on. Oh yeah, the meth. And I'm like, hey, I was like, and I usually always start out with people. I'm like, hey, just know honesty works best with me. If you're honest with me, then we can maybe work through some things. It's kind of how you cultivate informants, right? You just kind of get that honesty thing going, and you're like, hey, if you're honest with me, we'll talk about some stuff after you tell me what's going on, and maybe we can look at maybe resolving your issues, and maybe I can help you through this case, and okay. So he started telling me the story. And also, I say, hey, I know a lot more than you probably think I do. I'm not just here. I just didn't pick your apartment. I'm like, I bet there's drugs up there. And I showed up and there's drugs. Like I know I'm into you, I've got people. And okay, most people understand that. They know there's informants all over the place out there. So like, hey, so what's going on? He's like, yeah, I deal meth. Just enough to keep myself high. I'm like, okay, cool. That's pretty standard, pretty common for low-level drug dealers. And all right, so what's with all the weed, man? Like, you trying to grow, or are you trying to do what? And he's like, oh, it's kind of embarrassing. I'm like, what? And he's like, behind the apartment complex, there's like an alleyway. And I was like, he's like, yeah, see that? Actually, let me go back while we're serving the search warrant and doing a knock. He tried throwing those bags of weed out the back window. He got one of the boxes out, and we were able to get it back up because we had guys in back from containment, right? So anyway, like, what's with this weed, man? Like, you seem like a meth and heroin guy. He's like, yeah. He's like, honestly, I was just walking down that back alley the other day, and I just walked by this dude's house, and I looked over, and there's all these weed plants growing in this guy's house. And I was like, in his front yard or backyard of the alley, whatever. Like, okay, cool. And he's like, so I went back there last night and I stole them all. Oh, really? He's like, yeah, I went and stole them all. I'm like, oh, what are you going to do with it? He's like, I was going to dry it out and sell it. I'm like, oh, all right. Cool.
You want to point this house out?
Just some of the most random things. Yeah, I didn't actually go that route, but I was like, well, because he took all the weeds. He took all the weeds, so the guy didn't have any more weed. I couldn't do anything.
And it was all there nearby.
It was all right in the back alley from his apartment complex. He just happened to walk by. I was like, what? Oh, all right, I'll be here back tomorrow night. He just ripped them out of the ground. And half of them were all in the stage that they were all like still in stock form, in the plant form. And then half of them, you could tell he was breaking them down and separating it all out to dry and all that stuff. I was like, you can't make this stuff up. It's so random. Some of the things I bumped into like that, just that you would never have thought of, right? It just yeah, just crazy.
So did he decide to help you guys and turn informant?
He said he was going to, but he didn't. So I filed charges. It went to warrant, and I arrested him 2 or 3 more times. I actually, funny story. The last time I interacted with him and arrested him, I had when I was the junior guy on the gang unit, my boss, being that Lex guy I mentioned earlier, he was my sergeant on the gang unit, and I was the junior detective on the gang unit, and it was sweeps week for the media. So the media's calling gang unit. We want to ride with the gang unit. We'll ride with the gang unit. And buddy looks at me and says, Zach, you're the junior detective. Nobody wants to media with him. You get him. I'm like, all right, whatever. I can't say anything. I'm the junior guy, right? So anyway, I had 3 different media channels ride with me throughout that week. And one of the nights, I think it was channel 13, guy jumps in and like, all right, man. I'm like, he's like, can you just drive us around West Valley? Maybe we got to get this out tonight. I don't have much time. You know, we really want to get this out. He scheduled it weird. And I was like, sure.
Just to get a piece?
He's like, can you just go drive me around? Maybe there's some graffiti you can go show me. I was like, sure. I'm like, okay, I guess. Yeah, I could do that. All right. I'm like, hey, but I got to go check this apartment complex really quick. There's this guy that's a fugitive that I know. I heard he's in the area around there. So I just want to go, just drive through there real quick. So, okay, cool. I go drive through. I just came on duty, and the other sergeant, I just checked on duty too, but he was over at our office, and I drive through, and sure enough, as soon as I pull in this complex area, I see that guy. His moniker's Crazy. Let's call him Crazy. And he's standing out in front of this apartment complex. And I look at him, just look away, because I'm like, oh, I'm by myself. I'm like, I don't want to go try and get this guy by myself, but I go, just keep driving. He didn't look at me that time. And I drive by, and I get on the radio. I'm like, hey, Sergeant, hey, the dude's out here. The Crazy's out here. How fast can you get down to this apartment complex? He said, oh, I'm on my way right now. I was like, dude, I don't know how long he's going to stay outside, and I'm just going to go around and jump out on him. All right, cool. I'll get there as fast as I can. And the camera guy's like, oh, this is awesome. And he's sitting in the back seat. He's got the camera. He's like ready to go. And the anchor guy's sitting in the passenger seat. He's like, we're really going to do this? I'm like, oh, yeah, dude, he's a parole fugitive from prison. I'm going to jump out and take this guy to jail. He's like, no, okay. So I go around the block and come back in. Sure enough, he's standing out there. I pull over and I just open the door. I'm like, Crazy. And he looks at me and he knows right away. He's like, I was like, come here, man, you're under arrest. He's like, no. I was like, don't do it. Sure enough, he turns around, takes off running. And I was like, no, Crazy, I'm gonna get you. And I start chasing him, got a foot pursuit with him. And
why did you do it that way? Why didn't you jump out of surprise him and grab him?
There was the lawn. So on the street, stopped on the street. And there was a lawn before. So it was probably 10 or 15 yards that I had to get out to open. He was right on the porch of the apartment complex. So there's no way I couldn't, as soon as I drove up on that, he would have been what? Ran, So he ran. I was able to catch him, tackle him, take him to the ground. And what was funny is he said, he's not like actively, he wasn't like trying to hurt me or resist, but he was resisting, and I'm trying to get him in custody, and he's a little stocky kid. So it's kind of tough. And the funny thing, the camera guy's just sitting there filming. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is pretty cool. I kind of smile while I'm doing it. Like, hey, you're under arrest, just quit resisting. And the anchor guy's just standing there with his little microphone, just kind of watching. He's like, Zach, can I help you? I was like, yeah, you can help me. Put down your mic. Come down here. Grab that dude's arm right there. Luckily, right after that, my sergeant rolled up right then, and he helped me put him in custody. And it was pretty cool, though. And we get him in custody and sit him down. And I'd had a good rapport with this guy, because I'd arrested him a handful of times. And we always had a good conversation, and he was always trying to get better and trying to get clean and all the stuff. I'm like, that's great, man, good for you, try and do it, and I'd be supportive, and hey, work for me so you can work these charges off. And yeah, I will, I promise. Okay, well, anyway, so the news camera actually got to go interview him. They asked him, hey, can we interview you? He was like, sure. And he broke down, started crying. He's like, I'm an addict, and went through the whole rigmarole, and it was pretty cool experience.
Wow.
They got their sweeps thing for that night. They're like, that was amazing. It was within 7 or 8 minutes of me picking him up. We just drove down the street and got into that. So that was a pretty good time. And that was that same guy that I wrote the search warrant on who got the weed in his house. That was actually my warrant. I sent him to prison on that drug case, and he was out on parole, violated his parole. And that's when I ran into him and arrested him for that in front of the camera crew. So that was pretty fun. So that's what we did as gang cops. That's what I did. That's what we did at the time, was basically go out and just try and identify these dudes who were out doing whatever and put cases on them, send them to prison. So
how violent are the gangs here in Utah? Really? We don't hear a lot on the news media. There's I mean, there's the shootings every once. We had the shooting in North Salt Lake at the church during that funeral, but
Yeah.
stuff like that is just so rare. We just don't hear about it. So, how bad is it
The
here?
propensity for violence is there. It's there quite a bit. And I would say in LA, like I said, they're quick to it and they'll shoot right away, right? There are some guys here that will identify those top guys, the shooters, and really try and focus on putting cases on them because they'll pull the trigger. We had guys that one family I was telling you about, one of the younger sons, we knew of. By the time he turned 18 and we finally could nail him to one of the homicides, he had been involved in like 6 or 7.
Well, how many homicides do we have that are gang related here? And
Varies from year to year. Throughout the years I worked on the gang unit, it was generally around, I would say 8 to 10 a year.
Because you
which
classify
isn't
them
horrible.
differently.
I
than
mean,
us.
Chicago has
Yeah,
8
those
to
are
10
like
in
a
a
day,
weekend.
right? A weekend, yeah. So on the grand scheme of things, we're not to that level, right? But still, we still.
But you
wanna
don't count cartel in those numbers. That's
no,
separate.
that would be separate. Yeah, I would consider that separate. And those are a lot more rare.
They're usually shooting other gang members.
Yeah. Most times it's other gang members, but a lot of times innocents get hit, and one happened in Taylorsville one time where the guy came by, thought he saw a rival gang member, which I think he did, was the passenger. He started shooting and actually killed the female driver. She was 16 years old.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're out there and that's why we do what we do to try and help prevent some of those innocents from getting killed. We joke that we're like, oh, we don't care if they X each other out, but at the end of the day, it's still our job and that's what we got to do. But yeah, no, there are shooters out there. We actually did a case recently. Our gang unit did. I've been off for some time now, but our gang unit did an amazing case, a federal case on a shot caller for a prominent Sureño gang. And interestingly enough, they're seeking the death penalty on him because they can identify that he was involved in 3 different homicides. So it's pretty cool, pretty interesting. So
what are the most violent cities in the state? I mean, everybody knows West Valley, Magna, Kearns.
Yeah.
I mean, is that?
Yeah.
Some people say South Ogden.
Yeah, all of those. So I don't know which one is the most
Rose
dangerous.
Park.
Yeah, all those areas have some pretty rough areas. Midvale, West Valley, Rose Park. There's, interestingly enough, like in some of those areas, some beautiful parts of the neighborhood. And they're really good and they're quiet and it's really nice. But then there's just some of them that just aren't quite as nice. And for some reason, gang members move in on that area, and then people find out where they live and they'll come shoot up that side of the street. So it's really kind of hit or miss to say anywhere specifically. And that's what makes it so hard for us as compared to LA, right? Like if you know this Dogtown Sureño set, you know exactly where they are. You know exactly where all their guys are. If you get intel on the street that Snoopy from Dogtown shot the other guy across the street, he's only going to be probably in this area. It's a little easier to identify. Whereas here, it's spread out throughout the whole county, or they go somewhere else. It's just it's not geographic. It's not geographic. So,
Do you find much outside of West Valley, Kearns, Magna?
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's everywhere.
When you're going to West Jordan, South Jordan, Draper.
Not quite as often, but yeah, I've done gang cases in every city in Salt Lake County. I've done them in Bountiful. I've done them in Davis County.
Do you think Davis is what comparison to Salt Lake?
Yeah, it's not quite to that level, but there are gangs in Davis County for sure. And gang
Well, I see the
members.
tags.
Yeah, there are taggings. I know going through the campaign, they mentioned a lot of people have talked about a gang problem in North Salt Lake, down in the Foxborough area. There's a lot of taggings going up. So yeah, it's there. It's obviously not quite to the level as it is in Salt Lake County, luckily, and I hope it stays that way. But as the gangs grow and become stronger and more numbers, you'll start to see more of those incidents pop up.
How much do you find they're just normal fights, non-gun related? They get the knives out, they get the fists out.
Oh, sure. You look at some of the high schools in Salt Lake County, that's almost a daily occurrence. So when I was with Unified, before I came back to the sheriff's office, I was a lieutenant over the Magna precinct, and we were catching TikToks or whatever other social media platforms they were using of kids fighting almost every day, like pretty much daily, over just whether it be just regular squabbles or whatever. But they were having gang fights. It was it's pretty regular, pretty common. The one that we had right before I left UP and came back to the sheriff's office was was it Granger? It's the one on 5600 West there where
That's Hunter.
they started. It's Hunter, yeah, Hunter. they started out, it was a little bit of a gang fight, and one guy pulled out a handgun and started shooting, and I think there was 2 or 3 Polynesian kids that got shot and killed that day. So yeah, it's there, and it happens. Davis County, they're here, and from my experience when I was on the working gangs and stuff, it seemed like a lot of them came to Davis County because they knew someone to hide out. You know, if they were on the run because they had warrants or they were wanted, they had a cousin or a friend or somebody, and they come couch surf in Davis County because they're like, oh, the gang unit's not up there. You know, I'll just lay low and kind of hang out here. So they're hanging out here, and I'm sure they're still doing that to that extent. But from what I understand, it's getting a little more brazen in North Salt Lake area, moving into Woods Cross, and then on the north end, from Ogden, the issues starting to pop in Clearfield and stuff like that. So they're here. Like I said, luckily, I don't think they'll get to that level until they start growing in numbers. Once they start growing in numbers and they start getting bigger, then they'll start getting a little more brazen. And that's when you'll start to see some.
How many incidents, gang-related incidents, do you think you're encountering in Salt Lake County?
I think,
let's say on a monthly basis.
It's kind of hard to say. Throughout the whole county, I wouldn't even, I don't even know. Back when, I think when I was working, last time I was working in 19, they were weekly occurrences. I mean, throughout the whole county, right? I mean, there were gang things that were happening pretty regularly. Especially on the weekends, right? Or weekends just seem to be like one of the biggest high times, but that's when you're out rolling around, getting high, getting drunk, having fun, and shooting at people. You know, like that's
being stupid.
What they do, being stupid. Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, obviously it's all throughout the week too, but just for some reason they I don't know, Friday, Saturday, everybody likes to go rally on Friday.
Maybe they had regular jobs and roll like gangsters on the weekend.
I mean, some of them do. Some of them actually maintain jobs. You know, they do maintain jobs. Some of the younger ones and the older ones, when they talk about they start having kids and they don't want to go in and out of jail anymore, they try and go into that inactive status. And sometimes some of the gangs allow them, sometimes they don't. You know, you're either in good standing or you're not. So,
well, obviously you see a lot of collateral damage. What's some of the most violent stuff you've seen?
Yeah, I've seen a lot. I'm trying to think of which would be good.
Yeah, well, give us a couple stories. I mean, that's what the audience wants to hear. Is
for sure.
Stories.
Yeah,
what's actually happening out there?
We had a case, and this was, I think, more, I can't remember if this is gang or cartel related, but there was a guy who, I don't know if he stole money. I don't remember what the exact situation was. Or maybe he raped one of the other gang members' family members. I don't remember the exact details, but the one main guy came over and took a 2x4 and a hammer and a nail and nailed his private part to the 2x4 and was driving him around and basically kidnapped him, was threatening to kill him. He ended up letting him go, so we caught the case on it, and we actually ended up hitting that as a SWAT hit, that guy. So he was a known gang member that had some pretty intense history. So that was probably one of the more brutal ones. I think that the guy lived, of course.
Sounds pretty brutal.
There's some other torture ones that I've been somewhat loosely involved with, where a male and female were tortured, and that was a female. A female, she was tortured and killed at the house and driven out and left in a suitcase. So, yeah, I mean, it happens. It's pretty gnarly and it's pretty raunchy.
Well, what happened? What would cause something like that?
That one was cartel. That one, they thought she was stealing from them. So when you get into the cartel world, there's a few things that are punishable by death, right? Theft, lying, disrespect. Those are the big main things that will get you killed in the cartel world.
She was caught stealing.
Or being in the
Did they cut her up, put her in a suitcase then, or what? How did they get her in a suitcase?
Yeah, I think they cut a couple of her main body parts off and stuffed her in a suitcase. Yeah. And then
sounds very cartel
body. Yeah,
doesn't sound very gang, but does sound.
That was a West Valley deal. Yeah, I don't know if you remember years ago, and I wasn't involved in this case, but we knew about it through back channels that it was a cartel hit. It was actually in South Jordan or West Jordan, out in the landfill out there, out by the landfill off Bacchus Highway. They found a guy that they got a call on a car fire. Car was lit on fire out there off Bacchus, and they came in and popped the trunk, and there was a body inside there. We knew through back channels it was a cartel hit. It hasn't been solved to this day. Obviously, there's very little evidence when you burn a car and burn a body. So, pretty crazy. Yeah, that's pretty.
So there is an underworld in
Happy
Valley.
It's here, man. Yeah, it's here. It like I said, the cartel guys, they try and keep it pretty quiet because they don't want to draw the attention. The gang members, they don't care. They'll shoot at each other in broad daylight. You know, I remember the Valley Fair, not Valley Fair. the one in Murray, Southtown. Fashion Place, yeah, thank you. They had a gang shooting there, Fashion Place, on a Sunday. I remember I was at the aquarium with my kid, and that was an active shooter. It came out as an active shooter because there was multiple guys shooting at each other.
In the mall?
In the mall, in the broad,
Crazy.
on a Sunday afternoon. It was around noon or 1. Anyway, my guys, we deployed out there, and I ran home, dropped off my wife at the time and my kid, and suited up and went to work. And we ran out there and helped Murray identify the shooters. Nobody died on that one, luckily. We went to the victim, talked to the victim at the hospital, because one of my detectives, I was a sergeant on the gang unit at this time, and one of my detectives had a rapport with the guy who got shot, went to the hospital, and he was like, "Nope, we'll take care of this. This is street justice. We'll go. We know who it is. We know who did the shooting, and we're not telling you anything," because that's one of the rules.
That's what you're afraid of too. Is all we need is a good gang war.
Gang war, yeah. So that's one of the rules, that most gangs have. You don't talk to cops. You don't ever talk to cops. If you do, you're a snitch. And
Yeah, so what would motivate them?
yeah, so we identified we knew who they were through other interactions with these kids. Like I said, the ones that are violent, we identified them and we knew them, and there's a lot of times you can't prove necessarily that they're doing things, but when you hear about them through back channels, you start watching them, and you get one on video and surveillance video at them all, pulling trigger, shooting at people. There you go. So we hunted them down and went and got, I think, all 5 or 6 involved in custody within 6 to 8 hours that night. So yeah, that was really our focus, was the most violent guys in the county. So
Well, let's go from there to SWAT.
yeah, sure.
So SWAT's a little bit different than gangs.
SWAT's a little different than gangs. So throughout my time on SWAT is a part-time job for us where I was. So I was working patrol full-time and then do SWAT part-time, or gangs back and forth. So some of these stories kind of intertwine and kind of go in and out with each other. So yeah, I remember one night we had a suicidal female call in, and I was in gangs at the time, but I was also on SWAT, and my sergeant at the time was also a sergeant team leader for the SWAT team. This didn't quite rise to the level of SWAT, but it almost did. We were able to resolve it before it got to that level, but she was a veteran and she had some PTSD issues. And
Or she
was hallucinating. This was in Mill Creek. Oh, she was a Marine and did time in Iraq, I believe. Had some other things happen, some pretty horrible story, pretty horrific, but she
was the type of people we need to help.
Yeah, for 100%. Yeah. So, and this was a kind of a sad story. It was actually really cool, but she would claim that she was seeing people outside and she thought they looked like basically like terrorists and like bad guys. And she was having hallucinations, but it was kind of weird. She was aware of the hallucinations. So she called the police and was like, "Hey, I don't know what's going on. I'm having these hallucinations. I'm pretty sure they're not real, but it looks like there's Iraqis or whatever." I don't remember what she referred to them outside, and I think they're coming in to kill me. I need help. And so we got there, and she's like, "I've got a gun too. Like I got a handgun." Okay. Oh, and I'm also suicidal, and because it's in a big spiral, right? And she's having some sort of mental health episode, and she's admitting she's suicidal, and that this is happening at the same time. So
as a Marine, you're already heart's going out.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go. This is where they're going to help this person, or we're going to go in and have the ME pick her up and she'll be done. But so we show up. I actually had a little young ride along with me that night, and we get out there and we're kind of have it contained, and they've got a guy that's on the patrol crew, happens to be one of our negotiators. So he's on the phone with her and he's negotiating, and he's like, "Hey," he's on the radio every now and again, "Hey, I'm on the phone with her, trying to get her to come out and trying to put the gun down and stuff like that and not harm herself." And all right, sounds good. And so we got containment, and I'm there with my sergeant. He's a team leader. I'm on the team currently at the time, and we develop an arrest plan if she comes out, right? What we're going to do. And I got this new kid next to me, and we're standing there. And, all right, the guy negotiator comes over. "Okay, I just got off the phone with her. She said she's going to come out." "Okay, cool." All of a sudden, pop. And I look over at the young kid, and his eyes go like this. "You hear that? Yeah, that's a gunshot." And his eyes are just like this. I'm like, "Hey, are you ready? We don't know what's going on. She said she was coming out. Now this might go in. We might just have to go in and take a look and see if she's taking care of herself, and then it'll be a different situation." All of a sudden, the front door opens. Like, okay, here we go. Game time. And luckily, she came out. We challenged her, and she came out and knew her by name, was calling her by her first name. And I was trying to handle it, somewhat, with kid gloves, because she is a veteran. She's in crisis. And she comes walking up and I'm like, hey, where's the gun? She's like, I left it in the couch. I'm like, what's with the gunshot? She's like, oh, I tried to shoot out my pacemaker. I go, what? So yeah, and I looked a little closer and I had my tack light on my gun, and sure enough, there's a little black stain there, and you can see a little blood trickling. And I was like, all right, cool. And she had just a t-shirt on, and it was like a, like a knee-length t-shirt, and I just kind of did the pat real quick, and was like, all right, we're not gonna put you in handcuffs, and got her to the ambulance, and then they
So she
they
shot
treated
herself
her
in the chest and missed her heart.
Shot herself in the chest and missed her heart somehow, but how the pacemaker was somewhere up here, and you could see it protruding from her skin because she pulled her shirt down for us to let the medics did when they were accessing it, and it was.
Did she shoot straight through, or did she shoot?
It was kind of an angle. It was kind of an angle like that, and I don't think it came out. I think it lodged inside her somewhere. So it was pretty crazy. And my new guy was like, "You good, man? You good?" And I gave him a hard time because he kind of messed up, and I decided, hey, if she comes out this way, I'm gonna go this way, and you go this way. Well, he ended up going the opposite way, and I had to dip my gun, and I got into his butt a little bit about that. I'm like, dude, really? Like, come on, man. She didn't even have her gun. She didn't come out shooting, man. Like, chill, it's cool. Anyway, yeah. So what was cool is she got help, and
I hope she got a lot of help.
she did. She got a lot of help,
That's
and
a very sentimental thing because you know what they go through.
100%. So the cool thing about it, that the come full circle, is a few years later, we had a mental health unit that would go out and work with people who have mental health issues and stuff like that. And the sergeant at the time put this training together for our office, and they were bringing in, she brought in people who had mental health issues that had interactions with police, and come in and they could tell their stories to us, and kind of tell us what worked and what didn't, and so we could kind of just learn more about dealing with people with mental health issues. And she showed up to the training, and she started talking, and I'm like, I know this girl. I know this, because it was like 3 years or so in between, right? And I'm like, where do I know this girl from? And as she talked and told her story, then she started saying, yeah, one night I went into crisis and in Mill Creek, and I was like, that's her. As soon as she said Mill Creek, I was like, oh, that's it. That's who it is. And so afterwards, I went up and talked to her, and it's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Our veterans, what is it, 20 to 22 people, veterans a month or a day or something like that, committing suicide in the country. It's
She thanked us, said we saved her life that night, and she actually debated coming out and just going to work with us and letting us put her down.
suicide by cop.
Yeah. So we're like, well, I'm glad you didn't. So it was pretty cool. And last I heard, she moved to Seattle or something. I don't know. So that was the last time I saw her. But it was pretty cool to see that come for full circle. SWAT thing. So I was an explosive breacher on the SWAT team. Did a lot of explosive breaches on doors.
Were you around during Charlie Square at all?
So I was on the prison SWAT team at the time, and we did not respond. Yeah, we got a hold of the sergeants, like, no, we're not responding to that. So, and by the time we would have responded anyway, we were off duty. I mean, there was 100 cops there within a handful of minutes.
Well, this might be not near your time, but there's. Do you know anybody in the Black Lives Matter riot that happened downtown?
Yeah. Funny enough, I actually was in St. George when that happened. So I watched all my friends on TV, and I was like, oh man, I ended up going down there and helping out Monday when I got back in town, from the SWAT standpoint. But really all I did from a SWAT standpoint, it's kind of boring that way, because you're just kind of held in reserve in case it really gets bad. All the public order unit, they're the ones who go out on the front lines and handle all that with the shields and riot shields and all that. So in a SWAT capacity, we could just kind of kick back and just waited for something to get really, really bad. Luckily it didn't, but yeah, out of that, been on a couple hostage rescues. Luckily, none of them that went really bad. We went on one, I think it was Raritan or Harriman, and the dad that was going through a divorce and was at mom's house with the kids, sent mom a picture of the baby sleeping. It was the baby, they were 3 or 4, somewhere around there. They had 2 kids. They were kind of sleeping. He took a picture of them sleeping, sent it to the mom, and then took a picture of the gun on the nightstand and said, "You're not going to see him. You're not going to see us ever again." And so, patrol did a good job. They didn't go in. They didn't do anything. They didn't contact them. Just called the SWAT team out right away, and that was a pretty cool. We call a stealth to contact is what we call it, and we were able to surround the house, contain it, and I got into a contact team. I was a team leader at the time. I was a sergeant, so I brought the contact team in, and through the back slider. It was interesting enough. His mom woke up. It was like 5 a.m, and she was there making some coffee, and we were like, She's like, well, what? Comes over and there's a SWAT guy standing there. We're like, come here. Grab her and like, hey, and we kind of brief her. Where's your son? Where's he at? Where's the room? Okay, last he's downstairs. What's going on? We kind of explained the situation real quick and passed her off. And we very quietly snuck into the house and spread out throughout the house and made our way down in the basement where she said she was, and slowly opened the doors, unlocked to the bedroom he was in, and ran in there, pinned him with the shield, grabbed the kids, and ran out of the house. And were able to get him in custody, and the handgun was still right there on the nightstand. And yeah, it was a pretty cool deal. So been on some good ones that turned out really, really lucky like that, and been on some other ones that were, yeah, I guess one of the other ones was, it was the Burger King in Magna. Funny enough, it had been there for like a month. It was brand new. It was just right off Bacchus and 2700 South.
Oh,
so Magna Main Street. Yeah, that's a Burger King right there on the corner, across the street, right down the street. Anyway, right there off 27th and 8400 West. And what had happened, one of my other buddies, a detective, went out looking for this guy. The parents had called in. He was on the run. He had some warrants and stuff. And they were looking for him. And the mom called and said, hey, he was just here. He left. And he's wearing this, and he's got a backpack on or whatever. Okay, cool. So they go driving, and they find him right about as time as he's walking in the parking lot of this brand new Burger King. And they're like, hey, they're plain clothes, but they have identifiers jump out. Hey, so-and-so, Billy, whatever, you're under arrest. I don't remember what his name was. And he looks over his shoulder, pulls a handgun out, and cracks a round off, and then runs into the Burger King. These guys run in, basically clear the Burger King out of all the people in there. The bad guy ran into the bathroom, and they just pulled right back out, surrounded it, called out the SWAT team. So by the time I get there, I'm listening to the radio. It's starting to get dark. It goes into nighttime, and he starts shooting rounds through the door in the bathroom. So he's in the door. He's inside the bathroom in the corner of the Burger King, and every time he hears noise, he starts shooting rounds through the door. So we're like, okay, this is fun, you know.
I'd just be making noise until you ran out of bullets.
I know, right? Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we did kind of.
You gotta have that many in there.
Did a little bit of that. So I took a team into the Burger King, to go to, because the doors we couldn't get open with the robot that we were using. So we're like, you know what? Let's just go hand deploy a robot and get a camera in there, you know. And so we went in the opposite end door, and we had made this plan with one of the containment teams to throw a flashbang on the side of the thing just to kind of distract him, so that, you know, if we made noise going in, which we tried not to, it would mask that movement. And sure enough, we get in there a little ways. I'm like, hey, go and throw that flashbang. He throws it, boom, it goes off, and this guy starts shooting through the door, boom, 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 boom. And I got kind of a newer guy next to me, and I'm like, you can see his eyes are this big. And he's like, is he shooting at us? I'm like, well, he's kind of shooting that way. So not at us specifically right now, but if he does, we'll send a few back, okay? And he's like, okay. Like, okay, if they come this way, dude, send them back, and we're going to get out of here. Okay, all right. He's like, okay. So we got that in there, deployed the robot, and so we had a visual on that door because we didn't want to leave anybody in there, but we had the camera on the door. So then through that, we take the couple-hour process of, you know, we had already shut off the electricity, the gas. This was wintertime. I think it was in February, so it was really cold outside. It's gone into nighttime at this point, and we started shooting gas rounds in there to start trying to get him to come out, right? And we had these rounds that would penetrate the door.
Did you have to go under the door to do that, or
no? So we could shoot. So they have these rounds that'll penetrate wood doors and stuff like that. So we were just shooting these rounds through. They did it from the door, and they shot a couple through from an angle that we did it from a Bearcat, I think, is what we did it from, so that, you know, if he did shoot back, then it wouldn't hit us. So did that, and we did that for quite a while. Put an explosive charge on the door and blew it, and we couldn't get the door to open, and it was an outward opening door. So he was inside, but the door opened like this, right? So he's in the bathroom, and the door opened like that. So I'm like, man, he's got to be running out of bullets by now. But, you know, over this 4 or 5 hour period, he shot 20-ish something rounds, you know, and he's got to be out, right? And like I said, we put an explosive breach on the door to try and get in there, but the way the hallway was and the angle was, we couldn't see in there. We couldn't get an eye on him. And we're sitting here at the command post after I delivered the team in. I'm talking with the SWAT commander. I was a sergeant. I was the team leader at the time. What do we do next? He's like, I don't know. We find a backhoe or something to start tearing the building apart. We don't want to go in after this guy. It's just him in there, right? It's a problem we're going to solve. We've got it contained. There's no rush. there's no lives in
Jim's
jeopardy
on your
right now.
side.
Time's on our side. So we're trying to start tabletopping these ideas, and this is getting into 1, 2, 3 in the morning. Like I said, we cut the power, we cut the gas. It's cold.
Do you have somebody that's communicating with him?
No, he wouldn't communicate back. We're trying to talk through the robot because we have we can talk 2 ways.
This is a wood door, metal doors.
Wood door, and we'd blown a hole in the center, so we just couldn't get in to see it though. And then we started seeing water coming out the door, tons and tons of water, and we're like, what the heck?
The thoughts of beer.
Yeah, so we're like, okay, all right, yeah, strange. Yeah, he's flooding out the toilet stuff, whatever. Okay, it's another thing we're gonna have to deal with. And funny enough, eventually, we heard one shot, pop, and this was like we hadn't heard a gunshot in like an hour. It was pop. We're like, okay. Now we're sending the robot in, and we'll find him. Okay. We're all getting like, okay, we got to get out of the cold now. This is going to be resolved finally. And no, he didn't. And within 2 or 3 minutes after that, you see these little hands come out of the hole in the door, and they're just shaking. And we challenge him, and we're yelling at him. And our team comes in and gets him in custody. We can't get the door open. So what ended up happening after we get him in custody and we find this out, when he ran into that bathroom, I don't know how he prepared for this or if he just happened to have this stuff with him. He had a rope. He had a rope in his backpack. We don't know what he was going to do with it. I never got the after action on it, but he had tied the handle of the door to the sink. And when we started lobbing gas in there, he had extra set of clothes, t-shirts and stuff in his backpack. So he wetted them down and he wore around his head to keep from the tear gas from affecting him so much. And he started flooding out the sinks and the toilets. I don't know why he did this, but after several hours of it, or hour, however it was, he had also put some of the, I don't know if it was paper towels or if his clothes under the door at the bottom. And so it was stopping up the water. So by the time we got in there and got him, that water was like almost knee deep. And so what really got him out of there was the cold. He froze his own self out of there. Yeah. He froze himself out of there. Like what? And come to find out, it was the last round that he had that he shot off. And it was just one he kicked off. I think in talking to him, he was going to shoot himself, but he decided not to last minute and just shot it because he's like, he did it and then he threw the gun down because he was like, I've already shot off enough rounds. I don't want to have these guys come in and shoot me now.
Was this a kid or an adult?
When I say kid, he was like early 20s, 22, 23, somewhere around there. So, yeah, pretty crazy. And so it's funny. The Burger King opened up after they remodeled the entire thing, after being open for a month.
Brand new Burger King. Now
it's all just shot up with gas and blown up door and everything. And we went in there and made the joke that, now if you order your burger now, it's going to come with a little extra spice on it, the tear gas. But it was,
I would have just put a little sign around it and started selling tickets as tourist items.
I know, right? Yeah, seriously. Huh? Yeah, no. Yeah, that was a pretty fun op. We learned the hard way that night that LED streetlights are really hard to shoot out. We're trying to take it out so it masks our movement.
Because they're smaller.
I don't know. We were at this one, whatever streetlight it was. We had our guy. We had a Silence 22, and we took it out there, and this guy shot it like 15 times. You could see it would flicker, and then it would come back on. We were shooting at the white light, and it was scoped, and we were hitting it, and you could see it hitting it. It actually took a few rounds to get through the glass casing first, because they were subsonic rounds, so they were a lot quieter and they were slower. But then they started hitting the LED light, and it just would come back on. So I don't know what the deal was. We couldn't figure it out. Like, what? Anyway, we say, why don't we go over and just, unscrew the panel and shut it off? Well, it was right next to where he was shooting through, so it would have been a line of fire if we would have done that. So that's why we shot light out. But yeah, it was really weird. He shot 15 or so rounds at it, and it still didn't go out.
Surprised he had 20 rounds. I mean,
it was so crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it was
two mags or something like that.
No, we're just single. It was a bolt action. Little one, just sit there and shoot it. We're sitting there. We were across the street. We had the street shut off, and it was a good high angle. And he was sitting there.
Well, I'm talking about him. That he hit it off his last round. I mean, he must have had a couple magazines in there.
Yeah. I don't know how many rounds he ended up having, but yeah, I want to say
10, 15 round magazine.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
20 rounds off. You're gonna have to have at least
two mags. At least two mags. Yeah. So, yeah, pretty crazy. That was a pretty good time. So,
well, what are some of the more, whether you were on them or not, I mean, what are some of the more grievous SWAT actions have happened in Salt Lake County?
Yeah, when I was off the team, actually. So I did, on our team, once you do 5 years, you get what's called a senior operator patch. So I did 5 years, a little over 5 years, about 5.5. And I was like, okay, it's time for me to take a break. And then I was on gangs at the time, and I kind of had this thing where I was not really great at either one. I was good at both. I was like, if I step down on one, I'll be great at the other. And that's kind of what I did. I was like, time for me to step down from the team. I got my senior patch. I want to focus on gangs just as my full-time job and focus there. And 2 or 3 months later after that, Scott Court hostage situation happened where a guy ended up killing, did he kill the woman? The first woman. I think he killed the woman in the street, went inside the house and barricaded with another woman. They had her hostage. We all got there, set up containment. And this was a pretty crazy story. Our guys who were there, they actually go out and talk about it nationally at SWAT conferences, because it was such just a very unique challenge that they faced in this hostage deal. Well, they had containment, and they were at the back door. Basically, if they heard any gunfire, it was time to go, right? We're going to go in to save lives and do our job, or do their job. And it happened. The guy started firing, and so they went in and effected a breach. And they come in, and in the kitchen area, it's like, I don't know if it's tile or wood, but there's laundry detergent all over the place. The liquid laundry detergent.
Make it very
super slippery. The guy had taken couches and stuff and tipped them up. It ended up being an Army veteran guy. Tipped them up and was barricading everything. And he was downstairs in the basement. So these guys are fighting through all this stuff and dealing with this while they're hearing active gunfire. When they finally get through this barricade stuff and start going down the stairs, the other female victim comes up. She's got a gunshot to her head. I think she had 1 or 2 more in her torso. They grab her and run her out. And right as they come around the corner down on him, he had thrown the gun down and put his hands up. So they didn't get him in custody.
She survived.
She survived it. She survived it. Gunshot, it shot one of her eyes. She was blinded. I think she got shot somewhere else too. I think the other lady was shot in the street and killed. I can't remember if she survived or not, but what they had come to find out, well, initially he started shooting through the door. One of my friends stuck around in the gas mask, luckily didn't get hit. He actually didn't even know until he got home later that night. But what they had found out after he had shot her, he turned and was shooting at the gas line in the house, trying to get it to explode. So it was a pretty crazy situation all the way around. And like I say, our guys go around the country and SWAT conferences and debrief this, because it's not, generally in the hostage situation, they don't go to that level. People don't think like that. They don't think to do that kind of stuff, put out all sorts of traps, and sometimes you see barricade stuff, but not like that. So that was pretty crazy.
He was thinking through that. I mean,
yeah.
I'm going to slow these guys down somehow.
Exactly. Yep. So like I said, his whole plan, he thought that if he had shot the gas line, that he'd blow the house up. And the only reason he stopped shooting is because he ran out of ammo. He had emptied the mag on trying to get the house to blow up. So pretty crazy. Yeah.
Just didn't have a lighter.
I guess. Yeah, I guess not. I guess he believed what happens in the movies. I think it was Mythbusters or something that actually busted that myth, because there was a movie, I remember it was one of the movies, that awesome action movies from the 90s, where house was filled with gas. He broke the gas line, and if you shot the gun, it was going to blow the house up. And I remember, it might have been Mel Gibson movie. I don't remember. But what I remember, knocked the carton of milk over as the carton of milk was falling or whatever. He took his gun and hit the guy right in the head, and that's how he didn't blow the house up. But I think Mythbusters went out and basically busted it. In a house this size, you just can't. There's too many ways it can get out, and a handgun wasn't enough to kick off and ignite it. But anyway,
well, it's not enough to even kick off and ignite a gas tank either. On
right? Yeah, right.
So
yeah,
cars don't explode.
Yeah, no, they don't.
The gas.
Yeah, no, it just punches holes in it.
Punches holes in it and starts leaking out.
That's all it does. Yep. Yeah,
Were you around when the 2 sisters in Salt Lake, the guy from the halfway house, broke in through the window, and the one ends up getting out and running down the street and calling for help, and he's got the one girl, like, his legs wrapped around her on the stairs, and he took the shot.
I was on there. Yeah, I was on that night. Actually, a really guy I know really well. I actually ran into him at lunch the other day down in Salt Lake City at a sandwich shop. It was really cool to see him. Yeah, I was on there that night. I didn't get into the house because we were just far enough away that when the call came out and he ran in there and took care of the bad guy, 100 cops were there within minutes, and I was probably 4 minutes out. I couldn't even get on the street. So, I was there. I got there, but I heard the story and I heard about it, and that guy's a hero and did an amazing job. But I think he saved the woman, I think, right? From that,
Yeah,
right?
both of the one had been out and the one she was, they were friends and neighbors.
You know what's funny enough? That happened, that search warrant story I told you about earlier on Crazy from Zach Van Emmerick kid. His apartment was right around the corner from that. And it was actually right around the same time frame that it happened. So
Really?
that's what I was actually down there doing. I think was, I don't know if it was before the search warrant on his place or if I was looking for him, but
What street? Where's that?
Roberta Avenue on Salt Lake City. So it's like, so you got, if you go down State Street, you know where Salt Lake Community Campus is, there's 1700 South. It's right up there. It's like second east. Roberta Avenue is like second east. Somewhere right up, I think it's second east. But yeah, that house was right there on Roberta Avenue where that happened. So yeah, I was right there in the area and went down. So, oh, one other crazy one that brought up another one that I kind of forgot about. And this one is a SWAT one. So it's Father's Day, and I don't remember what year. I was a team leader still, so I had to been between 16 and 20. I was just in Southern California for a gang training. I was a team leader and I was a sergeant on the gang unit at the same time. Just another one of those filling my cup full as I can. But come back, it's Father's Day, and hear this call come out, or we get this really weird text message on our SWAT call out app, you know, and says something about a barricade. You know, we're like, okay, so just kind of start turning the radio on, start listening, and it comes out it's not an active barricade. It's not barricade. It's an actual hostage situation where this bad guy is actually actively killing his grandparents with a knife. He's stabbing grandpa. And South Salt Lake had just got there. They call out the SWAT team, and we haul butt out there. I go out there. What really hung me up is I got out to my car and it didn't start. I was like, what? I got a dead battery. What? Because I'd been in town. I'd been out of town the last week, which I'd never had an issue with that car like that at all. Anyway, it didn't start. So as soon as I jumped it with my POV, I hauled butt out there to South Salt Lake, and right as I was pulling up, he had actively began stabbing the grandmother at this time. Because by the time our SWAT guys there, he wasn't stabbing anymore. He was kind of pacing back and forth. The South Salt Lake officers on scene made the choice not to shoot. For whatever reason, I know there was some confusion there. They talked about calling it, the SWAT team was called out over the air. So I don't know if that kind of, in the old mentality of calling out SWAT, the police officers would just stop and not do anything anymore and just wait for SWAT. So I think there was kind of some of that. But anyway, as two of our SWAT operators were kitting up, comes out over dispatch that he's actively stabbing grandma. So two of my guys ran up and ended up shooting him through the door and putting him down. Come to find out, this is a pretty crazy story. This guy was in federal prison in Colorado and had some mental health issues, obviously. He decided he was going to transition in prison to become a female. So, you know, there's some issues there. But he got upset at his grandparents because they didn't put money on his books. So he decided to come down and was going to kill him for that. Well, what
mental issues?
Yeah, some just crazy mental issues, you know. And so he came there, and I don't remember if it was a family member or if it was a grandma. Someone called 911. I think it was a family member who wasn't there that grandma was talking to.
Did either of them survive?
Yeah, the grandmother did. Yeah, they were able. She got stabbed, but they were able to put him down before they killed her. And the third guy there was a medic, and he went right to work on her, so he's able to stabilize her. So pretty crazy. Yeah, so it just, we went down there to do that. It's insane based on not putting money on the book. So there's some major mental health issues there. And we talked about divine intervention, you know, earlier. That's, I think, what happened why I wasn't one of the shooters. You know, I'd never had an issue with that battery on that car ever. And here we go. I get the call out and it turns into this crazy deal and battery's dead.
For some reason, God decided not your day.
Yeah, that's 100%. So had I not had to jump the car, I would have been one of those guys. But that's just the
tough situations there.
Roll of the dice, man. Yeah. So
I remember growing up, and you and I are probably around the same age. From the time I was probably 10 to about 16, I was in karate classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Taking karate at the local Boys and Girls Gym.
Yeah.
And my karate instructor for like 3-4 years was Fred House.
Oh, no kidding. Okay. Yeah. That's crazy.
So I had gone to karate, come home, and like we did midweek, and like 2 days later, the whole swap thing happened.
Yeah.
And so this is a guy I've been known for a long time as a kid. All of a sudden, he's on TV, and next thing we know, he's dead.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Now, it was harrowing experience because it was the first time as a kid I'd known someone really gotten shot and killed.
That was close to you.
And so if you know the SWATs, I mean, they had everybody in hostage inside that building. And, and Fred House was the dog handler.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get the dog to go and get the guy with a gun, and the dog was not obeying for some reason, which is very rare for dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
And he stepped out of cover just a little bit further to point his arm, say, "Go get him."
Yeah.
And just then he got shot.
Yes.
And when you have your vest, you got the front and the back.
Yep.
And he got shot right through the side.
The side panel, yeah.
And there was no side panel.
Gotcha.
It just straight through and through.
Right.
Killed him like that.
Yeah. That's how Dave Welker was killed.
Yeah.
In Taylorsville. One of our Salt Lake County deputies that was shot and killed in the 90s. They were doing they were trying to grab a guy that had threatened to kill someone. I think he was a parole fugitive too, and he ended up shooting through the door, and that's where he caught it, just under where the vest comes up underneath your armpit right here, went through his armpit. So
that's where Fred House kind of
horrible.
It was kind of a harrowing experience because I mean you'll see me in high school or I was junior high or something like that, and I was a sketch artist back then.
Okay.
I don't sketch anymore.
Yeah.
But I still got a sketch of his bust.
Oh, okay.
Cool. When I was a kid.
That's awesome.
So
that's
really
really
for a whole over the assignments.
That's awesome.
It's kind of cool, but so I know those type of harrowing experiences and what's happening there, and so
Absolutely.
Following week we had a different instructor.
Crazy.
It's kind of crazy. People love these stories, so
I know. I've got one that I've been thinking about. I don't know if I can get through it. Maybe I can. It's and that's
I mean, there's a lot of things out there with kids that you have
sure,
to deal with. There's a lot of
I don't want to talk about kids stuff. That's really hard. I don't. No, this is a kind of I would say a survivor's guilt issue that I deal with, that I've been dealing with for a few years. No, yeah. So it's about Doug Barney when he got shot and killed. So I was on gangs at the time, and I had this informant hit me up. And she was like, "Hey, I got this guy. He's on parole. He's on the run." Okay, cool. He's crazy, man. He's not gonna go back. He wants to go out in a blaze of glory. You know how many times I've heard that though? No, every bad dude out there's like, especially when they're talking to a girl, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going back. I'm an outlaw. I'm a bad guy. Like I'm a gangster. I'm gonna go out like a gangster." And it's like, okay, I had snatched her up in a stolen car, so she was trying to work off the charge with me, and like, hey, she's like, "Yeah, I got this guy. He's pretty bad. He's bad news, and you need to come get him." I'm like, "All right, cool, let's do it." I'm like, "All right." "Where you at?" She's "Well, I'm in West Valley. I'm gonna go pick him up in Magna later." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Bring him to Midvale. I got near the Motel 6. So I'm gonna go grab a room. Tell him that you got a room and that this is where you guys are coming. You can do that. Hang out for the night." It's like, "Okay, cool." So she's like, "Cool, yeah, I'm leaving in like 30 minutes to go get him." I'm like, "All right, cool." Tells me his name. All right, look him up. Sure enough, parole fugitive. Got a border pardons and parole warrant to go back to prison. And start hitting her up. I'm like, "Hey, yeah, I'm on my way now. All right, cool. Well, all of a sudden, she not replying to me. I had a room all lined up at the motel, and I'm like, "Hey, this is a room number. Just park on this side of the building. As soon as you guys get out of the car, we're just gonna take it. I'll take them down right there." She's like, "Okay, cool." And she goes dark. Doesn't reply to me. I'm calling her, texting her, nothing. This is like Friday night, and I'm like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me." Oh well, sometimes you take a swing and strike out, right? Didn't think much of it because it happens sometimes. The informants go dark or they get scared. She hadn't done work for me yet, so I was like, maybe she just got scared and didn't want to line this guy up or whatever. So go home for the night and going out Saturday night, whatever. And Sunday morning, my buddy calls me, Lex. It's like, "Doug Barney's been shot." All right. Are there any outstanding? What do we need to do? He's like, "Yeah, man, come on in. Let's go to work." All right. So come to find out, this guy who I was going to arrest Friday night. Gets in a traffic accident on holiday and then runs on foot. I don't know if the car was stolen or not. Call comes in. Hey, he's running on foot westbound 45th. Description's given of him. Doug Barney's the first one to pull up and see him. Hey, I see him over here running. Pulls up in his car. Right as he pulls up, he turns and just starts shooting into the car. Doug Barney doesn't have a chance. Okay. Right around the same time, a couple other guys show up. Another good friend gets shot, and the other two put him down. So I get there, up to the holiday precinct, and they're staging because there's a blonde female that was with him that ran on foot, and they can't find her. And right about this time, I have another informant starts blowing up my phone. Hey, that girl, because they knew each other, was at my house this morning with this dude. She came over, needed to get some stuff, and he had an interaction with me, threatened to beat him up or something like that. And I'm like, okay, what was he driving? And then I go out the street, the precinct's right around the corner from where the accident happened. Oh, it was like a dark gray BMW or black. Now walking to look over, it's a black BMW. I'm like, this is the dude. Like, who was with her? Oh, that girl was with her. So, okay. So, hey guys, I know who the blonde is that ran away on foot. This is her name. Let's go find her. She's an informant of mine. Let's go line her up. End up tracking her down later that night and get her in custody, take her up to Salt Lake City because they're conducting the investigation. And I went in and talked to her. She said that she wasn't with him when it happened, but she was with him that morning and went over to the other informant's place, and that he had dropped her off at a hotel, picked up another girl, and that other girl was the one who was involved in the accident. And I kind of lost it on her and told her it was her fault. No, she was upset. It was her friend that died, and I was upset. My friend died. I told her it was on her. This is on you. The reason my friend's dead and your friend's dead is because of you. We could have had in custody Friday night. Error. If you would have shot out with us, we would have been more prepared because we would have at least known it was coming. So it's your fault. And I walked out of the room. Had we got into it with him on Friday night, would we got him in custody? I don't know. Would we have gotten into a shooting? I don't know. But Doug would still be around.
Did she explain why she went dark?
No. But she was with him. She went and picked him up. She spent that weekend with him. So, I don't know.
She probably is living with it now. She probably knows it. It's probably really hard for her to live through now.
The dark part of me hopes so.
Yeah.
Yep.
If that's the company she keeps,
yeah,
she may not even be here now.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, she was a meth addict and ran around with white supremacists. So, but yeah, and that's something I deal with. Part of my trauma recovery.
Well, that's what all officers deal with right now. I mean, and the public has, I mean, we spoke about this when we had Mike Smith on and John Atkin on, is you're out there doing gang stuff. You're out there seeing drugs.
Yeah.
I mentioned kids.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about kids.
It's hard to talk about kids, but then you go from these extreme events to someone's going 13 miles an hour over the speed limit, and then you're trying to pull them over and be nice, right? Breathe. Yep. They're not a criminal. And people really kind of have a bad taste for cops. Cops are bad. All cops are mean. Cops don't have it. And I asked this question during the sheriff's debate. I mean, how do you turn that off and then just treat people normally. And people don't see this side of people, right? That you're human. We go through these things. I had a good friend of mine die. I see what happens to kids out there. I see the drug violence, and then you just want me to turn that off?
Right. Yep.
It's the same thing with your veteran, right? You go to war and you see crazy things, particularly if you're infantry and you're not just some behind the office, you're not just some logistics person or something like that.
Sure. Yep.
My kids are all military, but they're mechanics, and they're never going to see the front lines or anything else like that. And they come home from that, and you just got to turn that off.
You can't.
It's hard.
Yep.
We watched a movie about Chris Kyle, and it took him a while to turn it off, and then he gets shot and killed by a fellow veteran, right?
It's crazy. Yeah.
Just crazy stuff happens, and there's this whole mental side of this thing that the public has just got to learn to have patience with, right?
Right, for sure.
Whether it's veterans that are in extreme need, and I'm glad you guys were able to help the one woman, and because that's the people we need to be helping, because that's what they're facing. We've got to start reaching out a little more to those people, but then we also got to start sticking law enforcement and supporting law enforcement just as much as we do our veterans.
100%.
Because when veterans walk down the street and they're in uniform, or they're in the airport, I mean, it's standing ovations, it's clapping, it's thanks for your service.
Yes.
Sadly, our law enforcement don't get the same respect most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the only respect you guys get when you're doing fancy motorcycle stuff going down the parade, right? In the parades, and everybody loves that kind of stuff. But and every once in a while you might get some gratitude. But I mean, everybody out there. I mean, we need to start upholding our law enforcement just as much, because I mean, you show right here. This is what you guys go through, and people don't realize that, and they think, why is he being mean? Why is he being a prick? Why isn't he pulling me up? Why does he just go do something more important? Aren't there gangs that you can go dealing with?
Better to do.
Better to do?
Like, we do. But right now you're it.
Right now you're it. That's the attitude.
You're the most important thing to me.
Right.
And I can't say anything because I get pulled over constantly. My kids, I'm a notorious speeder, and I've got a rap sheet of about 20 speeding tickets the last few years. So
that's awesome. Yeah,
it's
fun to drive. It's fun to drive fast, and part of the reason
that's just me though. And I pay my ticket and I go on. When the cop pulls me over, I'm like, I already know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I don't give him any type of hard time. I'm like, yes, officer, I know I was speeding. Just give me a ticket.
You're like, send me on my way, man. My ticket, I'm good to go. I know I did. Yeah.
Can I just give you my credit card right now?
Right?
I'm not going to argue with you. I'll talk to the judge, because I know that's what you got to do. I mean, the officer can't do anything about it. He's going to give you the ticket. You go talk to the judge. But then a lot of people try to take it out on the cops in the moment, right? I'm like, he's just going to give you the ticket. Leave it alone. Go see the judge.
And sometimes you can talk yourself into a ticket or out of a ticket. You know, it just depends. If you're nice and courteous,
just keep my mouth shut. Just tell me, just give me the ticket.
Yeah.
I'll go pay for it.
Yeah. Yep.
I've already got it budgeted in already. So.
Yeah.
My wife already knows that we have to have so much of a budget every year for tickets, but
My speeding allowance. Yeah.
my speeding allowance.
Yeah, that's funny. That's awesome.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But going back to the serious point is, people really just need to start having patience. And
For sure.
I don't know if that's ever going to happen soon, because it's just the way it is right now. And
It's too adversarial. People don't
it's
like it.
better in more conservative states than it is in blue states, and because right now there's a serious lack of patriotism. We started the show with patriotism, but there's even more lack of any type of respect for law enforcement. None.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm seeing more and more on TikTok and on Instagram how people get pulled over and just so argumentative. Just, what are you doing? Let go of me. Stop trying to arrest me. Get off me. You don't have any right to pull me up. And just, and then you see what's going on with the ICE agents. You see what's going on with Border Patrol. Just,
it's funny. I always tell people, I'm like, hey, they're like, oh, if you think in your mind that this officer is completely wrong and completely violating your rights, let them
we have a judge for him.
Relax, let them do what they got to do. And guess what? You can file a lawsuit. There's called 1983 Civil Rights Violation, or U.S. 1983 Civil Rights Act. If the police and law enforcement violate your civil rights, you can sue them. It's a lot better than dying. It's a lot better than getting shot. You just don't run that risk. You're violating my rights. Okay, allow the officer to do it, put you in handcuffs, whatever the case may be. And if you're right and the officer is violating your rights, you're going to get a paycheck. paycheck's a lot better than a
I don't know why they get their pride in the way,
Yeah.
they get their egos in the way, and they start arguing with the cop.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not going to go anywhere. It's just going to make it worse. That's why you have judges for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
You could argue as much as you want in front of a judge. That's what they're there for.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
But instead, they see all the stories with bad cops. And it's the same thing I say about anything else. I don't like when people say, all politicians are horrible. All teachers are bad.
Yeah.
All cops are jerks. It's like, no, there are humans that are garbage in every facet of life, you know?
Every different category, every group of people, there's that 10% that just ruin.
But you know what? Most people are good on most days.
It's the same people that go to work and their boss is a jerk or somebody else is a jerk. I'm like, and you don't think that doesn't exist on the force?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Yeah, absolutely. Policies suck, or, like you can't have fun and go chase stolen cars anymore. There's too much liability to it. But as a cop, you're like, why can't I chase bad guys? I want to put them in jail. And or your sergeant, they're not a nice person, or you just don't get along with them, or absolutely 100%. Yeah. Being in law enforcement is just like any other job. We have all the same problems, right? It's
Higher stresses, lower pay.
higher stress is low pay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
My brother-in-law is a UHP officer.
Okay,
in
nice.
Utah County. So
Yeah.
I talk to him all the time about it. He gets so upset at people, but
Troopers, man.
he
I would
does a
never
lot
want to
of
do their job.
he does a lot of traffic, and he was on the DUI squad for a long time, and he would tell me horrific stories about being on the DUI squad.
Those guys are awesome, man. Yeah. I've stopped a few cars on the freeway. They can keep it. That's why I say, man, I would never want their job. That's scary. That is scary. Like I've been I've been essentially shot at, had rounds coming my way a couple times, and I would take that over standing on that freeway with my butt in the lane. Like, I mean, it's scary. And it's all it takes is one person just not paying attention.
Yeah.
And you're done, and then let those troopers keep it, man.
And there's
We
one
need
thing
it,
pulling people over during the summer, but then I see them out there in the snow
Even
and
worse.
cars
That's insane.
sliding all over the place. And
they're out there trying to help, and I'm like,
And you never know who you're pulling over either.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh.
And you're trying to help someone who slid off the road just to have three more slide off the road right next to you.
Oh yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
this is crazy.
Yep. Oh, I don't like stopping cars on the freeway. I won't do it. I try not to. If I can help it, I don't do it. The only times I really have to do it is like road rage that I watch, that I see, because I've been in unmarked for so long that every now and again I just roll your eyes and anyway. Yeah.
You had much in DUIs that you had to deal with?
Oh yeah. Had almost been head on. I've almost been sideswiped. So I had a buddy that I worked with that was really good at DUI. So any ones that I run into, I would pass off to him because he loved them. And there's so much paperwork. And if you're not used to doing them all the time, they're just a hassle, right? Like, he loved doing them. So I was like, every time I bumped into DUI, I'd be like, hey, buddy, come on down. Or hey, he worked in the city next to me. I worked Mill Creek, he worked Holiday. I'm like, hey, you want to come catch a DUI? Yeah, absolutely. I was going down 500 East one day, about 40th South, and it was night. It was 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night or whatever. And this gentleman came into my lane and almost went head on with me. And I was in a marked patrol car. And I flipped around, pulled him over, and he totally drunk, just wasted. Called my buddy down, he handled it. I was getting ready to go home one night. This is when I was working Midvale Patrol. I can't remember if I was a patrol sergeant or not. I'm going up on the freeway at 7200 there to get on I-15 northbound. And this car comes and almost sideswipes me. I swerve and I slam on my brakes, and I light him up. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to stop this guy, right? I didn't know at the time he was drunk. That's all that happened. Like, we came on the merge and he basically almost put me into the wall. So I pull him over and I walk up, and he is already like this. And I'm like, well, really? And I shine my flashlight in, and he's kind of just sitting there. I'm like, you good? And he's like, and he's just bloodshot, and whiskey comes out.
Woo.
I'm all right.
Hey, you're good. You're really
good. Yeah, you good? The car starts rolling. Like, put foot on the brake. And he's like, huh? And he is just gone. And anyway, so I kind of talked to him a little more, and I put it in park. And have him put it in park. And all right, turn it off, because he's kind of still fidgeting with it. Like, I don't think he's trying to run or anything. I think he's so drunk, he doesn't know what he's doing, And I'm like, man, dude, how much you had to drink tonight? He's like, I don't know. Look, Dad. And he look over, and there's a bottle of Black Velvet sitting on the passenger seat. It's a fit. And there's like, it's almost gone. And I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Well, come on out, man. We're going to call a trooper over here. I'm ready to go home. I'm not going to do this, and it's on the highway. So trooper comes over. I'm like, yeah, dude, this guy, it's an easy one for you. And they love that DUI stuff. So I'm like, he was happy to take it.
They love that.
I went on, it was like 3 a.m. I had a kind of a weird schedule. He's like, I'm on till 6, I'll take it. I'm like, yeah, sweet, man. And he ended up hooking him and taking him to jail, shooting him an email for the probable cause for my stop, and he did everything else. So I'm like, thanks, appreciate it.
I had a lot of paperwork. You can go ahead. You can take it, right?
Yeah, that actually brought up one story that was pretty funny. I'll tell you about. That was a pretty good one. So I was working Midvale. I don't know if I was an officer. Yeah, I think I was an officer at the time. Yeah, I was. And it was with the Unified Police Department. And there's a hotel down there, Discovery Inn. And big time, it's extended stay hotel. Drug trafficking in and out of there is crazy. Drug use, drug dealing, gang members hide out there, fugitives hide there, like just crazy, right? So I would sit across the street in my marked patrol car and just watch people come out and go pull over, right? Like for traffic violations. And I would just get into guns, drugs, warrants. People would flee from me all the time, like it was a great fishing hole. And there was just a business that had like a chain link fence, and I just kind of sat by that. It was just enough out of the way that they would come out. The easiest traffic violation that a lot of people don't know about, it's called coming to a complete stop prior to entering a roadway.
Oh, yeah. California stuff.
Entering a roadway out of a driveway. So
Oh.
any driveway, technically by law, you're supposed to stop at the sidewalk, and you can't just blow through right onto the roadway. You're supposed to stop, clear traffic, then you can come out. It's called stop prior to entering a roadway. I'll sit there and they would just barrel out of there. I'm like, oh, sweet, here you go, easy stop. So a couple weeks prior, I had arrested this guy. And he was sitting at the Phillips 66 gas station one night, roll by in my marked patrol car, pretend like I'm getting gas, run the license plate, comes back, I do some research on it. The registered guy's got felony warrants for burglary. I'm like, oh, cool. Pull up his mugshot, driver's license photo. Oh, yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's him. Walk over. Hey, man, you're under arrest. What? He got felony warrants. Oh, man, he was good, and I arrested him, and he's fine about it. And, okay, and take him to jail. And every jail trip I took and every time I interact with people, I always try to be human. I always try to talk to them and, hey, man, this sucks. Don't take this personal. This is just a job. You're on one side of the fence and I'm on the other. That's the only difference between us, And, and I had a lot of people tell me their life stories and tell me about their addiction problems. And it was really cool to hear a lot of different stories. Anyway, this guy, he done his burglary. And we had a good conversation. I don't remember what we specifically said, but take him to jail and get done. I was like, hey, I was treated him pretty well. He's like, hey, can you at least let my wife come pick up my car so you don't have to impound it? Yeah. She was around the corner and a backing officer. Hey, do you mind waiting for a few minutes? He should be here in a few minutes. Yeah, for sure. Take him to jail, book him, leave. Don't think anything of it. A couple weeks later, people I had arrested previously, like people just getting a slump, they just can't get out of it, and they'll get court dates. They'll get arrested, go in the jail. The jail will notify the courts. If they aren't at high enough crime, they'll release them, and they'll say, hey, here's your new court date. Just make sure you show up, right? And that's generally how Salt Lake County works. Worked a lot back in the day. It's similar now, but a little different. But anyway, so that's a lot of what happened. So a few weeks later, after arresting somebody, I always look back through my notes and rerun them just to see if the warrants were reissued because they missed their court date. Well, sure enough, this guy had. A couple weeks later, I was like, oh, yeah, he's wanted again. I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe it was a month, something like that. 3 to 4 weeks. And so I'm sitting out Discovery Inn one night, just fishing, hunting. And I remember it was a Blazer. This Blazer comes barreling out of the parking lot and has a temp tag, and the license plate light is dangling. I'm like, oh, sweet, perfect stop, right? He just barrels right out, no stop. So I go out and go around the corner. He starts getting on I-15. By the time I catch up to him, he's going on the on-ramp northbound I-15 at 7200 South, and I light him up. Like, hey, Salt Lake, I had a traffic stop on this car, whatever. I walk up, diddly bop up, and hey, man, I stopped you because you didn't come to a complete stop rolling out of the Discovery Inn back there. Oh, okay. Your driver's license? No, I don't have it. Oh, okay. What's your name? He said his first name. I was like, I know this guy. Where do I know this guy from? He says this name, and then he says his last name. And I was like, ding, yep, this is the guy arrested a month ago. I know he's got active warrants.
And he doesn't remember you and your face?
Doesn't remember me in my face. But he gave me, we'll come to find out later, it was his brother's first name. Same last name, though. So the last name is what kicked it off. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is him. I was like, you're not so-and-so. This is your name. Get out of the car. And he looks up at me. I'm like, you're under arrest. You got warrants. He's like, no. And he slams on the gas. And back down, pull my gun out, put it in his face. I'm like, don't move. And start yelling and cussing at him, turn off the car and all this stuff. And he's like, don't shoot me. And his foot is on the gas, but the car's still in park. So the engine's just revving. And finally he lets off and gets in and drive and goes. I'm like, reholster, Right as my back is showing up, he flees, and I run back and start jumping in my car and take off after.
Because you can't shoot him.
No, my life wasn't in danger or jeopardy that time. That was more of anything an intimidation factor, or like, hey, don't flee from me, or oh no, what else is he going to do? Because
Did your finger straight?
fleeing rat might do other things, Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So he takes off, and we go after him, and the sergeant comes on. He's like, oh, what's he wanted for? He's wanted for X, Y, and Z. This is his name. Okay, well, it's not aggravated circumstances, so you can't pursue him for policy. I'm like, okay, yeah, so I'll shut down, and we're on the freeway, and freeway's relatively empty, and I turn all my lights and sirens off, so I get down to freeway speed, and he's pulling away. All of a sudden, he starts going across all lanes of travel, and I'm like, that's weird. Like, we're not chasing him anymore. What is he doing? And there wasn't cars that he was like swerving around. He was just back and forth, and I'm like, hey, like, he might be intoxicated or under the influence of something, right? Because he's not driving right. And all my stuff's turned off, and I could just see him heading down. And the watch commander comes on. Well, Zach, if you think he's intoxicated, that's within policy to pursue him. And I'm like, roger that, and I'm going to re-engage and pursue him. And, if that's okay with your sergeant. Sergeant, like, yeah, if you think he's intoxicated, good to go. And so I start pursuing him, and, a bunch of my buddies catch up, and we get like northbound to get on 215, go northbound on 215, then get up to 7th North and come up. And there was a female in the passenger seat at the time too. And as they're coming to the intersections before they're blowing him, he's slowing down on the red lights, and the passenger door's open, and she kind of looks like she's trying to get out. I'm like, oh, that's weird. I'm like, hey,
She just want to be a part of it.
I'm letting dispatch know, like, hey, something's going on. I don't know if she's not free to leave now. I don't know what the deal is. Is this a kidnapping now? I don't know. I don't know who the woman was. I just know the guy driving. She didn't say anything when I had him initially pulled over. But I'm like, I don't know what's going on. This is just, new information. And I'm like, okay. And we get up 7th North, we go all the way up, and we start heading down back towards the temple. And I'm like, hey, as soon as I get an opportunity, I'm going to pit him, because he was blowing through red lights, and I'm going to stop and clear him, right? Because I'm not going to, end my life or someone else's by being negligent and blowing through an intersection. So he's way ahead of us, and so anyway, we get up, as he's going up the hill, we were able to catch up, and I closed the distance, and we turned down onto, I want to say North Temple, whatever road. Let's see, if we're facing south, we're coming down the hill, Temple's right here, and then you have, North Temple's this way, and we come down Main Street, maybe? It's not State.
Main or State?
It's Main or West Temple. Sorry. Yeah, one of them. Anyway, it's on the east side of the temple. And I'm like, hey, if I can get up to him at this next corner, I'm going to pit him. So as soon as he turns to go onto North Temple to head westbound, I point my car at the rear quarter panel of the Blazer and just punch it. And it hits him. Boom, and it hits him hard right as he slows down. I hit him like this, and I'm like, sweet, made contact, I'm good. And then all of a sudden, I see undercarriage. Now, what? Undercarriage? What? And my brain starts processing. Oh, he's rolling. The car's rolling now. And then it goes away, and now I just see an upside down car in front of me, and I'm like slamming on my brakes, it's because I had just punched in. I come to a stop, and the temple's in the background. Is actually a really cool backdrop. So he rolls up on his top, and I get out and run over. I'm kind of hyped up, my adrenaline dump's going. So I run over, which I think is the driver's seat, is now the passenger seat. I go in there, I got my gun out stuff, and it's the female. I got to run around to the other side of the car because it's upside down. So I run over there, and he's hanging upside down. He's screaming. There's glass everywhere. And reach in there, cut the seat belt. After my buddy's there, he's got him lethal cover, and grab him by the hand and drag him out there. And he's kicking and screaming. Oh, I'm hurt, whatever. And get him in handcuffs and sit him down. We go take care of the girl, and we're like, oh man, what the heck? That was crazy. So read him his Miranda and stuff, and start talking to him. And dude, why did you run, dude? Like, I was just going to hook you on your warrant and just kick, whatever. Yeah, I didn't want to go to jail tonight. Oh, why? That girl, that's my wife. Okay. It's her birthday today. We were heading to a party. I didn't want to miss this birthday party with her.
You wrecked your car.
So you fled, wrecked your car because you wanted to get
Great
your wife
birthday
to her
present.
birthday. But yeah, I was like, okay, cool. Those are one of those things you can't make it up, right? Like, okay.
And was she trying to get out?
She was trying to get out. Yeah, come to find out, she was yelling at him to stop and pull over, and she was trying to get out. And
Was that was making him
that
stop?
was when she was, no, I don't know why.
The question is, are they still married?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I asked him, why were you swerving on the freeway back there? He's like, I thought that's what would make you guys stop chasing me. I'm like, what? He's like, I was like, I'd already stopped chasing you at that point. He's like, yeah, but I thought you guys wouldn't, if I drove like that, you wouldn't be able to chase me anymore. And I'm like, I was like, actually, it looked like you were drunk driving. So that was actually what allowed me to go pursue you. He was high on meth, so he was intoxicated. But yeah, I mean.
Maybe he's thinking, you know how cops drive like that to stop the traffic?
Yeah,
Maybe he was confusing.
In his meth mind, he thought that driving dangerously on the freeway was going to make us go, oh, that's too dangerous. We can't chase him, No, but anyway, it was pretty fun. Yeah, I get it. Some people just have a propensity to run from police, and they just do it. That guy didn't have a history of fleeing. He really didn't. I guess he just really wanted to get his wife to that birthday party that night. But I guess I ruined that for him, though.
Have you had any unique DUI testing? You see all these videos where
when they make him do a
get him out
dance.
and walk the line,
no,
or blow into the.
No, like I said, I didn't do a lot of them. I would pass them off to my buddy, and he would take care of them. But no, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any good DUI ones that I saw or ran into.
Yeah.
But
I'd like to talk to someone that has some funny DUIs.
Yeah, okay, I did. I mean, this was kind of more silly than funny, but I was actually backing the guy, my buddy, who did all the DUIs. He caught one up in, I think it's Holiday, technically, Van Winkle, and where the gym is right there, 5600 South, I think. Anyway, no, it was over by Conwood High School. And we're sitting there waiting for the record. We're sitting there BSing, just shooting the breeze. And all of a sudden we hear, we look over in the parking lot of Conwood. Kids are over there doing donuts, right? I'm like, really? Do they not see us right here? Our lights are still on, right? We're letting traffic know that we're here impounding a car. Like, you got to be kidding me. And my other buddy showed up because he had to stay there with the car to get impounded. And so we're like, give it a minute, man, let's go away. And they didn't stop. And we're like, are they doing this intentionally now to come get us to interact with them? And all right, look at my other guy. Well, let's go. And we drive over there and flip our lights on, and it stops. It comes to a stop, and you can see all this scuffling around, whatever. And we're like, oh, okay, we go up there, and there's 2 kids in the back seat, and nobody in the front seats. And we're like, what are you guys doing?
Which one are you
What are you
It's Herbie with a driving car.
What are you talking about? Like, what's going on, officer? Like, really? They're like, what? And I'm being teenage kids, but I guess they thought they were going to be sly and get away with it. And like, who was driving? Like, we don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? What playing so dumb? It's like, really? Come on now. Anyway, ended up, we aren't going to say anything. You guys are fine. Like, you're not going to get in trouble. Just all we're going to say is don't do that again. And find out who was driving. All right, there you go. You can be honest with us, and everything's going to be fine. You're not drunk. You're just dumb kids doing dumb stuff. And oh, we're sorry. And
I'd escort them to mom and dad and say, go tell your dad what you're doing.
yeah, I think we did end up calling parents to have them come pick them up. We had to come pick them up from there.
You want to explain to them what you were doing?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I was like,
What their insurance is covering?
yeah, the craziest thing, like you just never know what will happen in front of you. You just don't know, right? I sat in front of Fat Cats one day. We had me and my partner go down on a scooter gets hit by a car. It's a scooter versus car accident, whatever you call it. Call them auto bed. It wasn't bad. Everyone was okay. And we're just standing there talking to the parties, exchanging information and stuff. And all of a sudden from 3900 South, we hear this engine rev, like just rap out. And we both look over, and this car's coming straight at us and starts veering into oncoming traffic. Like it's coming, like it's going to come and hit us. And we're like, oh, that's not good. Right at the same time, a passing car barely glances him, and he bounces off. Well, in front of the Fat Cats, there's a big mound of grass there. And the car,
Dukes of Hazzard?
after it veers off, goes Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh.
And this ends up being right in front of us. It hits the mound and goes airborne, and it kind of goes
Wish you had your
sideways.
cell phone out,
Oh,
right?
dude, that would have been so cool. That would have been the coolest thing because I can so distinctly remember it. He hits it, goes airbound, and there's this tree. It's about this thick. And the back quarter panel of his car hits the tree, and it cocks it this way. And about the time he hits the ground, and then it rolls like 3 or 4 times. Doosh, doosh, doosh. Because he was going so fast. That tree and landing sideways like that just made him roll. Like, oh, we're just looking at each other like, this really just happened. So we run across the street, like, oh, we got to go, help this person out. Who knows what happened. And this guy didn't have a seatbelt on, and he's just wrangled somewhere inside the car. He's unconscious, and we pull him out, and he comes to as we're pulling him out. I look at it and notice there's a baby car seat, a car seat. I'm like, my heart sinks and drops because I don't see a kid. And I grab him and he, we start shaking. I'm like, where's the kid? Where's the kid? Where's the kid? There's a baby in the car. Luckily, he's like, oh, no, they're at home. So come to find out, we dealt with this guy a week prior at the gas station, or not the gas station, the corner of 3300 South and Highland, at a bus stop. He was huffing nitrous oxide, dust off, whatever you call it. He was getting high there, and anyway, we interacted with him there. This night is about a week later. He was down at the Walmart. Apparently, I don't know if he bought or stole a bunch of cans of this duster stuff, and was driving back home because he lived over by 33rd, and he was huffing it while he was driving. Well, at 3900 South, as he went through the intersection, because he told us the story, he ended up telling us, he was huffing and he passed out while he was huffing with his foot on the gas, and that's where
the gas.
yeah, and so he passed out, and the car just started. He glanced off that car, and that car is what kicked him over and hit the grass, and then flipped him. It was,
What was he driving?
it was an old Subaru station wagon.
A station wagon.
Yeah.
He didn't douche ahead
Yeah,
of the
oh yeah, it
station
was
wagon.
so crazy. Yeah, so random. And it was like, he's kind of a drug addict. So, and I don't know what it's about drug addicts. They keep so much stuff in their car, and there's junk and stuff. And the funniest thing I can remember is while that thing was rolling, there was so much, not only
spilling
debris
out
from the car, just stuff like random duster cans were flipping around all over. Like there was like 7 or 8 of them. Like I said, I don't know if he bought them or if he just.
So the stuff that you aired blow out computer
blow out
keys?
computer keys. Yeah, you can huff it and it gets you high.
Oh, perfect. Don't do this at home.
Don't do this at home. Yeah, don't. It kills brain cells and it's very dangerous.
Get you in car accident.
Definitely don't huff and
We thought
drive.
he was coming. We thought he was going to come hit and kill us, But then he glanced off that car. But then because initially you're like, is this really happening? And your brain's trying to process it. Is he coming to kill us? Like in that split second, and then he hits the car and glances and goes that way, and you're like, oh wait, no, there's something else going on here.
Thank heavens he didn't kill a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah, seriously. And he came out, like I said, he didn't have a seatbelt on. Either that or he flew out of it. I don't know, getting rolled. I don't know what happened. Unscathed. He came to when he came to.
Because he was high, so he didn't brace himself.
These drunk people do is they get so flimsy that
Right. Yeah.
they don't tense up.
They don't tense up.
Not
They just
me.
flopped around in the car.
My husband barely gets over the line, and my feet are up on the dash. I'm like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Typical wife.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure.
My wife does the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, honey.
Yeah. My girl does the
Same
same
story.
story. Yeah, like I said, sometimes it takes me a while to get going, but every now and again, something will come up and you'll remind me of a situation or something, and that's what kind of goes down the story. We can go back into some of the trauma related stuff too, really quick, because your white shirt's very bright and vibrant, and this is kind of kind of brings me back to a moment I had where a man had ended up killing himself, and I got the call. I was working patrol. I was a patrol sergeant in Mill Creek. And he did it in a park, and it was a shotgun, and did it outside his truck. And some unlucky citizen who walks every day in that park found him. So we go up there, and craziest thing, it basically took the top of his head, and almost like a surgical saw had cut the top off. It was almost like a perfectly flat, like it turned his head to a perfectly flat thing, and it cleared out everything inside. Our cops were weird. We're kind of nasty and disgusting, looking with our flashlights, that's kind of weird. And, we're talking about the violent crimes or the detective that showed up, and, we just have a sense of humor about these things, right? It's the only way you can.
You have to.
Doing it, right? We're talking about it, and I'm like, I can't believe how bright, vibrant white the inside was. And it wasn't very, I'd seen stuff like that before, I'm okay with it. It's kind of a cumulative effect I've noticed over time.
I'm in the healthcare industry. So
So you see it all the time. Yeah. So, but it was the craziest thing. I've never seen something that bright white because it was so
You
efficient.
literally blow the brains out.
Blew his brains out. And a lot of it was, just kind of gunk and goo and bits. But the top part of his brain was sitting on the ground right next to him. Like it couldn't flatten out. It was the strangest. That part wasn't gory. It was the strangest thing that it just happened. And to see, like I said, I can't describe how white the inside or your bones are, you see if someone breaks it or cuts.
Well, it's funny because
really
I just
white,
had a child ask me, I took a 3D x-ray on her, and she's looking at it, and as we're bringing it up and manipulating it, she goes, are my bones really yellow like that? And we're like, not once the blood flows.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it was pretty cool. So every now and again, when I see something super bright white, I kind of go back to that moment, and looking inside that guy's head. And,
Yeah, sorry about that.
oh, no, totally fine. No. I'm used to it. I'm accustomed to it. You grow to.
But you feel for the person who came upon that, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
yeah, because I signed up for this.
She cannot see that.
I know what I got myself into, but yeah, he or she. I can't reference the he or she, but yeah, they never can. They're gonna have to deal with that for the rest of their life. That's pretty.
Well, veterans, law enforcement, you guys all deal with stuff like that. Do you find a lot of PTSD that you go through, or
Yeah,
go through?
yeah, I've struggled. Yeah. I've got my own issues that I deal with regularly, and a lot of us do. Talking about it helps, though, for me anyway. Like talking about getting it out and talking about it, and even kind of maybe making it a little humorous. It helps. I've noticed that, because if you just bottle up and keep it up, it weighs on you.
And don't you think you have to have a higher power? Because whenever something tragic happens, like right at the end of the campaign, we lost a really good friend, and actually Carrie Ann had lost a really close friend, and it was like final stretch of the campaign, and she had to compartmentalize that.
Yeah.
And I just always go to, like, if you think about them, think of where they are right. They're happy.
Yeah.
They're peaceful.
Right.
They're free, and it can help you just go,
Kind of help absorb it.
Yeah.
And deal with
yeah, if I'm not thinking about me and how distressed I'm, if I think about them for a moment, like,
Yeah.
they're free.
They're in a better place. Yeah.
They are free from whatever,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing too that we as law enforcement have finally gotten better at, is taking care of ourselves. When I started, even in the Marine Corps in '99, it was like, oh, you saw something bad or you did something bad, keep your mouth shut. And you better not go to the head shrinker, because you're going to lose your career. You won't go anywhere in the Marine Corps. Like, keep your thoughts to yourself, and don't just suck it up.
talk about it. Yeah.
Here's a straw, suck it up. That was the term we used. That's how I started my PTSD journey in the Marine Corps. I didn't get any combat deployments, but I watched a couple kids mishandle a hand grenade in training, and it blew up 7 of them. 2 of them, luckily no one died. I don't know how they all survived it. It was inside of a trench, but seeing that, running down and helping with that, and seeing body parts and stuff like that, you kind of forget about it. Your brain can block it out if you allow it to, right? But not dealing with it, not openly talking.
That's got to be very traumatic if you're seeing body parts.
That was pretty crazy. Yeah,
pretty crazy.
Yeah, and cuts and every veteran that's been overseas has generally interacted or seen something like that, over and over again. So I'm lucky it just happened to me that one time, while I was in the Marine Corps. But I didn't really think anything of it till years later, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Well, I can only imagine what you guys as officers go through. My most harrowing experience that I went through was I was on 2nd West, downtown Salt Lake, and probably 2nd or 3rd South.
Yeah.
I was at a stoplight. My light had just turned green, so the cross light was red. This guy and there's a minivan on the other side of the street coming my direction. I was going his direction. Mm-hmm. And this other car just blows that red, just blows it, side swipes that, hits that minivan right in the front corner panel on driver's side. Yeah. That minivan flips over on top of its roof and just gets slid clear across the ring right in front of me. I'm in a big lifted truck, so I am seeing everything.
Right.
You can tell it was an illegal alien because his car skids off to the side. He gets out and he just
that's crazy.
Booking it down the street, just booking as fast as he can go down the street. I'm already out of my truck by the time he's sliding out of the way, so they're still moving, and I'm already knowing what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
And I was just moving that fast. I had that thing in park, and I was just jumping out. I had one of my coworkers in me. I'm like, park the truck. Yeah. And I was out. I was running across there, and I got about halfway over there, and my heart sunk because all I could hear was kids screaming.
Oh, that's horrible.
I was like, because I was a young father and everything. Yeah. I pull open the sliding door, and all I can see is like 4 kids hanging upside down in car seats. Yeah. Thanking God that they're still in their car seats. Yeah, none of them will fall out. They're all good. Oh, yeah. But they're all upside down just screaming. I'm buckling 2 of them. Yeah. Dad's hobbling over the other side trying to buckle up another one. I've got 2 kids in my arms. Yeah. I'm like, don't worry about it. I got them.
For sure.
And he's trying to get the other 2 out, and then a couple other people jump over, and Another lady grabs the throat. So he's got one, lady's got one, I've got two. And
It's crazy, man. Yeah.
just crazy. And I'm trying to settle them down. It's okay, I got you. And then
Yep. Now imagine.
5 minutes later, cops show up and the ambulance shows up. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. And that guy's gone.
Oh, gone. Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure. He's gone. Back in, probably not back in Mexico. He's somewhere doing something else.
Just crazy experiments. I mean, and that's where no one really got injured, right? I can't imagine going up to that where you're actually seeing kids injured, particularly kids or even adults. Just
Yeah, I remember the first really gnarly traffic accident I saw. I was on FTO, and it's actually kind of a wonky story. It's pretty crazy. It ended up in Riverton. This is back in the day when we were still a sheriff's office before we became Unified Police Department. But I was on FTO with a guy on Riverton, and we get called on this rollover crash, and it was it was a rollover anyway, a crash in a car fire, and it ended up being a Corvette. And he was heading down 1300 West so fast. There was a truck driver that lived on 1300 West, and he had like a drop deck trailer, like one of the low ones to the ground. And he pulled up. So what he usually does is he backs his trailer into his home, and he had a long enough driveway that he could pull his trailer and a semi in. Well, the way he described it, that he saw headlights so far back, he was like, oh, I got plenty of time. But he didn't realize it was this Corvette doing probably 120, 130. Got it at least somewhere around 100. Well, as he backed up, it ended up hitting the corner of the trailer as he was trying to turn it in. The Corvette noticed because he went to the other side of the road to avoid it, and it hit so hard, the A post came in and split the passenger's head open, and it hit so hard that it impacted and went over, and it caught the Corvette on fire. And the driver, unscathed because he was drunk, got out of the car, and the truck driver jumped out, and before the car fully engulfed, was able to pull the passenger out. They didn't know he was gone. He was done. Like he didn't feel anything. He was gone. His head was, it was canoed open. And it was pretty crazy. Come to find out, the story, I'm sitting there, we call him lifelike because we weren't sure that this guy was dead or not yet, 100%. And the medics were like, yeah, call him the lifelike. I'm like, okay, cool. So we get him calling. We end up canceling him because they're like, oh, he's dead. Like, he was gone. They realized that and they called it. So, yeah, to see that, when you first come on and as a rookie, a brand new kid, you're like, this is what you got to look forward to the rest of your career, The crazy thing is, and this is the story the driver told, they're at a bar down the street and he had a Corvette jacket on. Those guys, Corvette guys, they wear their Corvette jackets, do their thing. And he's at the bar, this random guy comes up and just starts talking to him about, hey, that's a cool jacket. Do you have a Corvette? He's like, yeah, I've got a Corvette. You want to see it? It's just right outside. He's like, yeah, cool. He's like, dude, can you take me for a ride in it? I've never been in a Corvette before. I guess they just kind of hit off and became friends.
Ride in the Corvette.
Yeah. And so the driver was like, yeah, absolutely. And he'd been drinking. So he went out there and I don't know where they went southbound, but they were coming back northbound on 1300 West when they hit. And a guy ended up going to prison for automobile homicide because he was drunk. Passenger died. He was dead on impact. It's so hard. It basically,
split him open.
Pretty gnarly. Yeah, it split his head straight open. So
Choices,
crazy.
Choices.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. So but yeah, the things you see, and then you talk about a cumulative effect over time. I can't even count the amount of dead people I've seen from natural causes, suicides, accidents. I still remember the first one for sure, what that one looked like, and then I remember some of the more kind of like.
How many suicides have you been to?
I don't even know. If I had to guess, 50, 60. I don't know.
It's horrible.
Yeah, been a lot.
Kids, adults, everything.
Yeah, mostly adults, but I've seen teens. Yeah.
My niece committed suicide, so it's a touchy point.
It's tragic. Yeah, that's horrible. But yeah, been on a lot of them, especially since COVID. Honestly, that was.
Yeah, so we've seen a lot more of that since COVID.
Yeah,
since we closed everybody off.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's interesting. So I left the gang unit at the end of 2019, and I went back to patrol. And I worked back in Mill Creek again, which I really love that city. It's a great place to work, great diverse culture and people there. It's really cool. You can go from low income refugees, Somalis, Sudanese, all the way up to multi-million-dollar houses on the east side. It's
That's
such-
all I think of as a Mill
such a
Creek. Is it the expensive?
Yeah,
houses?
so no, it all goes all the way down to 700 West. Actually goes down to
You
the
got the Somali,
Jordan River.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, on the other side they got that Somali.
the Somali camp there.
Yeah,
We did a service project for them.
nice. Yeah,
We built a whole bunch of bunk beds for them, but
Yeah.
they've got a huge apartment
yeah,
structure there.
yeah. Pretty cool.
Dozens of them there.
Yeah, but I worked the weekend shift. So I worked 13-hour shifts, and I worked Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And I was only there. I got promoted in June. I left when Magna got promoted to lieutenant in June of 2020. So I was only there, I think, November to June, something along those lines, 6 or 8 months. And I don't think I went a single weekend without a dead person on my shift. And most shifts were multiple. Majority of them were natural causes, but I had at least a suicide or an overdose almost every weekend. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I felt like there's probably a few more than that.
do you think
weekends that were
that'll
without it.
numb you, like, to do so much in such a short period of time?
Yeah, absolutely. And as the sergeant, I generally went on most of them, to just be with my people, but
Well, if you got a suicide or an overdose almost every weekend, I mean, imagine when the cops go through in big cities.
seriously,
Just
yeah,
seriously, what the trauma that would be.
oh, it's
If
crazy.
you're in New York, if you're Chicago, I can't imagine being in Chicago.
Oh yeah, no way.
You got 10, 15 people dying a weekend.
Yeah, from gang violence,
From gang
not even
violence.
just
Not even
regular
got regular
overdose
stuff.
or any other stuff. Yeah, you're talking like horrific, tragic, mass traumatic injury deaths. Like that's
That's crazy.
natural's natural, right? Like you go in, most people just, they look like they're gone, and then it's not usually super horrific. But yeah, some of the overdoses can get pretty bad, because there's a lot of blood, and then obviously the suicides can get pretty bad. But yeah, crazy. I know what
Can't imagine.
the thing people do to each other, and I think you can kind of overcome a lot of that, and I think another thing that adds to it is the stories you hear behind them too, right? That really adds to the trauma because,
Like start hearing the families.
yeah, or the stories are just crazy. Like you said, most people are good, but I went on one suicide. I remember this was in Midvale too. It's so crazy to me that this guy did it this way. It's actually super creative the way he did it, but the why behind it was what I was like, man, that was messed up. They were in their 60s, I think, married couple. Got in an argument. Wife's like, I'm leaving. I'm going to go shopping. We're going to cool off, whatever. And him, for the ultimate, like, kind of F you to her, he hung himself from the garage door opener and kind of
She'd see it when she came home.
kept. So that was the first thing she saw when she came home. And I think that was worse for me than seeing him there dead, like,
Yeah.
just like
That's
that.
so
How do you-
strange.
yeah, how do you do that to your significant other? Like just the things that people do to each other. Nuts. I think that affects me more than seeing the dead person, It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like with you. I mean, I it's hard dealing with anything with kids, right? I got a very sensitive part there. And
100%.
you get very angry when people start abusing kids.
Oh, for
it's
sure.
tough.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really tough.
Yeah, I don't like going down that road. Been around too many things and heard and saw and just, I don't.
Too much trauma.
That's one I try not to delve into too much because that's just disgusting. There's some just sick human beings out there.
Well, you get into
most people are
child
dead.
trafficking and stuff like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Child porn and was it CSAM? They call the material on it. Yeah, I don't.
You know,
That's why I
Mike
avoided that.
Smith and John Atkin both talked about
It's,
that side of things.
It's gnarly. It is nasty, and it's here. And to John Atkins' point, that he brought up a lot in the campaign trail, that is probably one of the biggest issues and crimes in Davis County, because a lot of people don't like to talk about it, and they don't like to admit that.
It's as bad in Davis. Just imagine how bad it is in Salt Lake County. Because Mike Smith down in Utah County is saying
everywhere.
he's seen some things that are horrific.
Yep, everywhere. Everywhere, man. I've done SWAT warrants on people like that. I've done regular warrants. I've arrested them. It's.
How are SWAT warrants like on that?
I don't know how many I've done. I just remember one specifically. The only reason it came to a SWAT level is because he did have firearms history and he had firearms at the home. So that's the only reason. Because I would say not surprisingly, a lot of those people, when they get caught, they either they generally, I would say not generally, but a lot of times kill themselves when they get caught, and that gets exposed to their families, and
They don't want to face the shame.
exactly. Yeah, it's actually pretty common. So that one, he had rifles and handguns and all sorts of stuff, and we're like, well, I mean, if he's gonna go out, suicide by cop, maybe because this is now an issue and it's come out, better to have a SWAT team there is prepared for it than some patrol guy or somebody go and not know and have it go south. So yeah, crazy. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's rampant. It's
sad to see that it's rampant.
It really
It's
is.
really sad to see it's rampant, especially in a good Christian community like we live in.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now you're thinking, oh, that's going to be a blue state type thing. That's going to be a liberal state type thing, and
That is
not
It
everywhere.
affects every breed, or I would say every cut of society. Rich, poor, young, drug addicted, every race. It's not.
One of
Apparently-
Satan's biggest tools.
Oh, apparently, yeah, being addicted to that is not racist. They don't care what color or whatever you are.
That's right.
If it just picks you, and it's insane. It is everywhere. It's crazy, and it's so accessible, just the material, and that's where you get your start, and it's just crazy. That's one area I tried to avoid. I have avoided my entire career. I never wanted to go into like a special victims unit. That's just specifically because I don't think I can handle dealing with that all the time as my only job.
I don't blame you.
Obviously you take those initial patrol calls and you got to listen to the initial part of it, but when the detectives have to go in and get specifics and go down the road
See ya.
and interview a child to hear these things, and you're just like, I was like, nope, I can't. I will never go do that job because I don't think I have the temperament for it. And I think
I'd be in jail myself.
yeah, exactly. That's what I say.
That
Like,
would be my fear.
I'm glad there are people that will go and do that and can handle it, because I can't.
That'd be the vigilante.
Yeah,
I'd
no,
I'd be afraid of myself.
Right? Oh yeah. I mean, if anything, and what's funny, kind of what we were talking about earlier, about the gang stuff and having bylaws and stuff like that. That is actually one of most gangs have in their bylaws that if you come across a pedophile, you kill him. So that's
It
one
is in
thing.
the prison
Yeah,
system.
that's how it is in prison. Yeah, that's how it is. Yep. You kill him. If you can kill him, you kill him. If you can't kill him, you do whatever you can to hurt him.
Yeah.
And that's why they usually have their own separate wings, their own
Yeah,
separate
the
areas.
pedals have a completely separate
Yep,
wing.
they have
to
to.
stay out in public.
Yep. And it's funny, when I worked at the prison, to interact with sex offenders like that, the rapists, they're different. They're more criminal mindset. They're more, where the pedophiles, it's very strange.
So normal.
Very
I was
normal.
talking to, I think it was one of Mike Smith's people, that he had a female in the prison guard in there, and she was in the pedo unit, and she would just talk about how freaky it was to talk to them because they were just so normal. They were so gracious. They were so nice.
Mindset, yeah.
Different mindset. And she's like, she had to constantly remind herself of what kind of people she was in with.
Absolutely, 100%, because they're everyday people, and it's just something that they hide on the surface, and you still maintain a life, and they still might be the nicest person and you just don't know. And what's funny though is to see some of them come into the prison for the first time, and they talk about generally when that happens, something like that happened to them, they were victimized at some point in their life, and then usually if it's at a young age, and to have someone in uniform come and be like, go sit down, and they were so timid and so afraid, you could almost see that inner child that they were still there because they were so scared of authority or someone that can actually do something. Because right at the end of the day, pedophilia, rape, stuff like that's about power and control, right? That's why some of these weaker individuals have to feel like they control a child.
So they never.
Well, a lot of times it's where they couldn't control anything when they were younger, and now they're over infatuated with control as an older adult.
Yeah.
And
But then to have someone who is actually in control step up to that person, they just melt. There's
you go back to a kid,
cowards, yeah, and they're just like
they regress to when they were out of control as a kid.
pretty crazy. Yeah, nuts.
Has a big mental problem.
100%. Yeah, yeah, and I hate to say I don't know that you can fix it. I
I don't think you can.
I liken it to your sexual preference, right? Like if it really is you choose what, or you don't choose, you're attracted to a certain type of person, or that doesn't change. You can't change that out of somebody, If a woman's attracted to a man, they are going to be for the rest of their lives. That's how it is. You don't change that. You can't come into a person and force them to be attracted to something other than what they are. So that's a mental issue. Right? You can't.
But they can control whether they act upon it.
That's the big thing, right? Yes, you can. You can control you act upon it. That's where I think if we're morally through humanity, if you couldn't control if you act upon it, it probably wouldn't be a crime, right? But yeah, if you can control it, then it's 100% your fault. Yeah, like it's unfortunate that maybe you got put through those situations when you were younger, but that doesn't justify you doing that to someone else, right? Or continuing that pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
So, and that's the problem, right? So yeah, I don't know how you fix it.
Not a world I want to
I have an idea, but I won't say it publicly. No. With you, vigilante.
Yeah, with me. Well, these are some great stories. I'm glad that you've been with us
Oh, thanks for
a
having me.
long time.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I get to talking sometimes, and I don't.
No, this is a long format. That's what people come and watch the podcast for. They like to hear these type of stories and see what it's really like out there. Because the average public, they don't see it. They don't experience it. All they see is stupid officer giving me a speeding ticket.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right, and that's the way it is. And they got to see the other side of the coin. They got to see what really happened.
Yeah, we need to have a little more gratitude.
A little more appreciation.
A lot more
understanding.
gratitude.
For sure.
You
Yeah.
get pulled over, just say, "My bad."
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Just give it to me. I'll hit it up with the judge when I get there.
Love to
Right?
say kill them with kindness, man. Just be respectful, and yeah, I mean, like I said, someone's personality or the way that they treat the officer could get them out of a ticket.
If you're
nice
an
and courteous.
officer out there and you pull me over, just know I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to have a problem. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the way to get out of a ticket. I mean, if you're going to get out of a ticket, you got those traffic.
I never
guys.
have once gotten out of a ticket.
If you got those
'cause
traffic guys, yeah,
they see my rap sheet on there, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's getting
Like
out
you're
of a
getting
ticket."
it.
I'm like,
Yeah.
"I already know.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to worry about it."
It's like those traffic guys I talked about. They don't let anybody go. That's what they do. That's their
what they
thing.
do.
So you're going to ticket if
I'm
traffic
okay
guy
with that.
stops you.
Like I said, it's in my budget. I'm all good.
Yeah.
I'm just playing on it.
Hello, they have a budget for it. That's funny. Yep. That's awesome.
My kids make fun of me because of it.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
They
Yeah.
make fun of me.
Yeah.
I do too.
I would too. Yeah.
Oh, my
Now
wife
that I
makes
know,
fun
I'm
of
going
me
to make
too.
fun of you too. Yeah.
And you're free to do so.
Yeah.
I hear it all the time.
Right. That's awesome. Well, no, thanks for having me. This has been great. I really enjoyed myself. So I hope I didn't cry too much. I'm sorry. I apologize. But
I mean, that's
gets a little touchy
we all
sometimes.
get there, right?
Yeah.
We all get there.
For sure.
I particularly get there one anytime that's patriotic,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
hits you home.
For sure. Yeah. I'm the same way. Like you, anytime I hear the
The national anthem.
national
Yeah.
anthem, I get choked up and I get goosebumps and my hair stands up.
Yep.
Just
I
a
cry at the beginning of
song.
every football game.
Yeah.
It's not just a song to you. It's,
Right.
It's I know what that means.
100%. Yeah.
I know what that means.
I think
know
it's
what that means.
Pavlov's theory for me now. Like I feel it. I'm like, oh man.
Like, yeah. Right. Yep.
Yeah. And even one of those stories when you see soldiers coming home and they're surprising their siblings.
Oh, that breaks me down. Oh,
Gets me every freaking time.
seriously.
Man,
Yep. Me too. Yep.
It's so tough.
I try and stop watching them. I'm like, no, I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry right now. I'll save that for later.
And hopefully it was
Well,
cathartic
I
to
did
talk
it-
about the other stuff.
It is. It really is. Like I said, it helps. It helps a lot. It helps.
Well, I did it with my kids because my oldest son was in Korea for a year.
Okay.
And then he was getting home in the middle. We do a camping trip once a year. And my daughter and my kids are all up there. My daughter she's really emotional and haven't seen him for a long time, spoken for a long time. It wasn't that the communication wasn't that great.
Yeah.
And so I told him, don't tell anybody you're coming home. I'll go pick you at the airport. Well, I'll bring you up there. So
Yeah.
I took off from the camping spot, went down to Salt Lake Airport, picked him up, took him up there, and then I pulled into our camping spot because we'd already been there for a few days, opened the door, and he walked out. And she
that's
just,
Yeah.
his sister just lost it.
That's great. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was one of those feel-good moments.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. That's cool, man. I like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, well, this is a long podcast, so hopefully everybody makes it through it. Might have to watch this one in sections. But happy 4th of July. Hope everybody celebrated it well and safely yesterday. I know here in Utah, there's no fireworks allowed, so hopefully nobody started any fires this year because that's a big problem right now. This is God and Country, and we'll see everybody on the next show.